We have about 15 deals closing next month that we're going to probably net us between 400 and 450. What's your prediction on the market?
I think Donald Trump is good at...
I'm trying to get to $1 million months. It's the whole point of the reason why I haven't gotten to the coaching realm yet. There's two reasons. And it's one, it's because...
Welcome to the Brian DeVilla Show, the #1 podcast for flippers, wholesalers, and real estate entrepreneurs. And today on the podcast, we have someone very special. So this man does about $300,000 a month or more in Southern California, wholesaling and flipping. We're going to go over dispositions, acquisitions, and just how to scale a flipping and wholesaling company. And I know this guy, so I know he's legit. Aaron from Sellers New Day. How are you, baby?
What's up, dude?
Excited to have you on the podcast. You've been a long time listener, which is crazy to think about. But yeah, so how are you doing?
All right, man. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
All right, man. It's been a long time coming. Me and you've been talking for a while to get us on the pod. Like I said, I'm just here traveling through. I'm actually going to a mastermind right now in Utah.
Yeah.
So we're real excited about that. Decided to drive through Vegas. I mean, it's a stop, and I thought, hey, let's stop and talk to Brian and shoot the crap a little bit. So I know you've been coming on here, interviewing amazing people.
Yep.
And you have been super entertaining from my lunchtime.
There we go.
So like I said, I'll take a break. I'll eat lunch. I'll put Brian on.
There we go.
And I love your sense of humor. I love how the deep questions you ask. I mean, you're a true salesman at heart.
Yeah. I love, for all the first time listeners, I try to be the most transparent real estate podcast out there. Mm-hmm. I make sure we don't hold anything back. I ask like, what systems are you using? Who's your contractors? How much do you pay? What's net profits? What's this? What's that? What's this? Because I feel like back in the day, everything was like kind of behind a curtain, and you would only hear the top number, but not the reality of the situation.
Yeah.
And I'm even transparent with my business and like what we're currently doing, the struggles we've had in past years, and the listeners are gonna come with me through the ups and downs, and it's great. So for people that don't know who you are, what does your business look like today?
Yeah, so I run a real estate wholesale company outside in only Southern California. So we target from LA to San Diego. We're strictly wholesale. We do 3 exit strategies. That's wholesale, novations, and listings.
Oh, okay. Got it. And then like how many deals are you guys doing now? Like how's the year started off for you guys?
Yeah, compared to where my standards are, a little bit slow, but we're definitely already trending upwards. So, we did a little over 100 deals last year in Southern California. Obviously we have our top line revenue. And then this year, like I said, we started a little off slow, but we're already picking up a crazy amount of momentum.
Yeah, and I know off market or off the camera, you talked about you guys had like a $750,000 month.
Yeah.
Last year, which is crazy, which a lot of people wouldn't even imagine that's possible as a wholesaler. So let's just start there. Like, how did you do that?
Yeah, so that was a big month. Like I said, we talked about that too. The reason why sometimes you get these big months, and again, we're trying to get big months with a lot of deals as well. And I think that's kind of the direction we're heading. Like we have about 15 deals closing next month that we're going to probably net us between 400 and 450. But the month's not over. So what I always like to say too, I'm jumping ahead of myself. Let's go ahead and talk about that big deal month. So we were closing on about, I think, 200, 250. We had a big deal that jumped us up to that 700 mark. That was a $500,000 assignment fee.
Damn!
Technically, it was actually $800,000 assignment fee, but there was another wholesaler that actually had a lien on a property. So we paid out our assignment fee, $300,000 to remove that lien. So technically, it was an $800,000 assignment fee.
Was it a commercial building?
It was a multifamily in Santa Monica.
Wow. Holy crap. That's a big assignment fee. That's crazy.
Yeah, it could have been actually $1 million. Honestly, I think we could have got it to $1 million assignment fee, but we found a developer and he negotiated. Unfortunately, he negotiated down, but it was still pretty good.
Dang, that's crazy. Well, congrats. That's huge.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So, let's talk about your progression in your career, right? So, how long have you been wholesaling, and then how did you scale?
All right. Do we want to get how I got into wholesaling?
Yeah.
Okay.
How long have you been wholesaling?
So we just finished our 5th year.
Yeah, that's not very long. And it could just be high, not like how did you get into wholesaling, but what'd you do your first year, second year, and then scaled?
For sure. So we could talk about numbers. A big thing is the deeper why behind all of it, right?
Okay.
Wholesaling has changed my freaking life. And again, we could talk, I guess, about that in a second. But so the first year I started in 2020. I used to be a firefighter. Before that, I was in the military. So I started wholesale in the fire department. And like I said, the whole story is phenomenal. Like, I was driving for dollars while I was in the engine. I was taking pictures when I coming back from fires. I was taking sales calls in the back of the fire department. I was cold calling. I got the fire department Wi-Fi, and I was cold calling. Like, the whole story of how it all started was to fight for my daughter, and it was a fantastic story. And long story short, I was in a custody battle, and because of this, I needed to find other ways to make money. Back in the Navy, I read a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad. A lot of times what we do as sailors, we'd pass around books. And one of the books that got passed around was the Rich Dad Poor Dad book. And it was a phenomenal book. So then what we did later on, I never took action while I was in the Navy, but later on, when I needed to find ways to make money, I said, I need to go pick up that book. Picked up the book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, read it. I said, okay, cool. I think real estate's gonna be the avenue to get me to make more money to pay and afford my attorney that I was fighting for. Long story short, I went on Google, typed in how to make money through real estate without any money. And guess what came up? Wholesale real estate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so wholesale real estate came up. Was trying to still understand the concept of it. I got a coach at the time, Wholesaling Inc. Back in the day, the guys who run it was Tom Kroll, Cody Hoffine. I didn't have the money, obviously. I was in debt. Well, I wasn't necessarily in debt yet, but I put it on a credit card because I didn't have the funds. I was putting it toward my attorney and my other bills. And 2 months later, I got my first deal, which was $20,000. I put $10,000 of it to my attorney, and then I put the rest back into marketing, and then boom, and that's where it kind of started going. So 2020, I got around $300,000, and I was able to afford my attorney, got full custody of my daughter.
Dang.
I still have her till this day. She is an amazing, amazing little girl. Wholesale real estate has also given me the ability to give her a fantastic life. She's in a beautiful Christian private school. She's the reason I do everything every single day. I always tell my team, I'm not going to fail you, because then it means I'd fail my daughter or fail my kids or fail my family. So obviously there's a deeper why behind the revenue, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's what you always got to find within your people as well. So the first year we did 300,000. Second year we did 600 and some change. I remember my wife was just like, she's like, babe, and I married my wife at the time, and she was like, babe, we made it. She's like, and I mean, $600,000.
That's a lot.
And I didn't really have a team at that time. Right, it was just me and my wife and maybe some VAs, and so we got to keep a lot of it. Right, and so we had a great honeymoon. We had a beautiful wedding I never thought we would have. We bought our first house, so it was just a great way to kind of start our life. And then the second year we did 1.3 million, and that was 2022. So I'm still learning. Right,
yeah,
you're still kind of learning things. Then interest rates happen.
Yeah,
right. So that's 2022. I'm trying to move along so that interest rates happen. I never been in a recession. I hear Ryan a lot talk about that too. When he got into real estate in 2015, he saw the market keep going up and up. Yeah. I remember even when I got in at 2020, I was like, man, the market just keeps going up.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, obviously the market went down, and then we went the nationwide model, and we did about the same. We did about 1.5 the next year nationwide.
Yeah.
And then the following year, which was last year, we did 3.5, and then this year we plan on doing 7 million.
Dang. So last year you did 3.5. This year you're going to do 7 million. Mm-hmm. How did you scale so fast? Cuz usually people they go to 100K, then 200K, then they have a big jump. It's you went from 300K to 600K to 1.2. What helped you scale so fast?
Obsession.
Okay. Well, I would say a lot of people think they're obsessed because they watch
I like
YouTube.
You just said it. Think. Right?
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. No, a lot of people are definitely obsessed. But what are you obsessed for?
Yeah.
This is why I want to in this podcast, and every time I do a podcast, I always like to make clear if we're only going to talk about the story of who I am, why I do what I do, and then if I could add any value to one person out there to help them within their business, and hopefully I could help you. And obviously we can right now. What I love about podcasts, we're just kind of shooting the crap. We get to brainstorm, we get to help each other out. We get to it's a mastermind, and we talked about this off camera too. Is a lot of people talk about the good stuff. Let's talk about the bad stuff. When we're here, let's talk about the bad stuff and how can we get over those things. And that's actually what I got here as well. I got you a little gift because I want to talk about all of it, man. All the ugly. All the bad, good, and ugly. Yeah, so.
What is it?
So I got you a gift.
Is it a book?
Because one thing me and you talk about offline and stuff is sales teams.
Oh, it's a sales book.
Yeah.
Is it Andy Elliott's book? No.
Get a six-pack, boy.
Yeah. Okay. All right. The sales formula. There we go.
So this book has changed the freaking game. If you don't have that book and you have salespeople that are under you, pick up that book. And if you don't like reading, one thing I learned from Alex Hermosny is follow it and listen to it. So you can pull out that highlighter, highlight things, take notes, but don't ever just listen or even just read it. But dude, that book is phenomenal. I got crazy amounts of recommendations. On different leadership books, sales books. Because I read about 2 books a month, and the last couple books I've been reading were about. Last year was all about leadership books. Lately, I've been kind of doing about sales leadership books. But that book I read actually last month, and it was phenomenal. I've been recommending that one to a lot of people.
I guess right now, since this is going to be like a mastermind / podcast, I guess like what is the topic that you're really focused on right now? And then I'm going to think about what I am, and then I want Justin to think about what he's focused on. So Justin's the COO of the wholesaling company.
Just nice. Yeah. What's up, dude?
He's not usually switching, but I was like, you got to be in here for this.
Well, yeah, I appreciate it, brother. No, I mean, he's like, you can tell he's like just the nicest human
He is. He literally is. That's why I need him, because I'm like the fire, and he's like, it's all right, buddy. Like, everything's going to be okay. I'm like, are you not going to do your job? Like, are we just like, and then he's like, oh no, everything's going to be great.
You got to have that balance, man.
Yeah. But what are you focused on?
Right now I am currently focused. So so every year I feel like I do some type of shift. Now, as obviously you get more mature in it, the shifts kind of, they're not so gradual. So one thing I used to do is when we went nationwide, we were kind of on the phone sales. It was just locking up deals. Lead comes in, lock up the phone. You kind of had your own pipeline. What we've gradually done, and when we focus on Southern California, it was kind of almost hybrid. We had our guys in office locking up deals over the phone and also going to the property. Now we're fully, so what I'm focused on currently, what we're doing is fully going to the house. So we got, what would you call it, road warriors. So what we do is we're going to belly on every single appointment. So if you're able, willing, and ready to sell, you're at that appointment. We're not qualifying, and we're not pre-qualifying anything. That you are at. There's basically two things you got to do. Is you got to be. What's that?
I said, excuse my language, but that threw me off that you just said that.
What's that?
You're just no qualification. You just go on the appointment.
100%, right? Yeah. So you got to be able, ready, and willing to sell your property. The only other things that obviously we're not going to do is if you have no equity. So we have setters right now. So one thing I'm really focused on right now are setters. So I've tried the in-house setters. Try to hire Americans. Didn't go so well. One thing, what was the other? I tried AI, didn't go so well. And what we're doing now is I'm going to do virtual. So I'm kind of leaning. It was always a big thing that I didn't want to do was do virtual stuff. But because we're having our kind of our closers now on the road, and not everybody's in office as much anymore. So the setters are now. So now we've hired overseas setters. They're from Egypt, but I made sure I'm hired the best, and we got them go through Traineal and everything like that. And but the cool thing, what I like about this is they are working from. We have them on shifts right now from 8 to 8. So 8 a.m., 8 p.m. So all incoming leads, because remember our leads in Southern California are about $400, $600. So they're taking all inbound leads. They're working the leads into the system, and they're going to work weekends. So they're around the clock setting appointments, and then we got our home buyer specialists that are just driving around Southern California meeting with homeowners.
Interesting.
And I've already seen the conversion. And again, we can maybe do the podcast later, but because that's obviously what I'm currently working on. I want to make sure, because what do you always do when you're in a mastermind, or when you want to make sure you get into a room with people doing way more than you?
Yeah. Hey, quick break from the podcast. If you're enjoying this podcast, make sure to give it a like, comment, and share. And if you're someone that actually wants to start investing in real estate, whether that be flipping, wholesaling, or rentals, and you want me to help you, go to the description of this video and fill out a link, and we could see if we could work together. In case you didn't know, I've done hundreds of flips, wholesales. I own millions of dollars worth of rental properties, and I've helped hundreds of people rather start their real estate business or scale their real estate business. Right now, we're doing 6 figures a month flipping and wholesaling, and I want to be able to help other people who want to start or other people that want to scale their business. So if you need help with leads, if you need help with raising capital, if you need help with building a sales team or closing more deals, I can help you. So go to the description of this video, fill out the application to see if we could be a good fit. If not, just keep enjoying the podcast, subscribe, and I hope you guys enjoy.
So the people that are my mastermind, technically my mastermind, but people that are doing way more than me, that's what they're doing. They're getting in front. Again, anybody who watched this be like, oh, I'm locking up stuff over the phone, blah, blah, blah. I did it too. Yeah. I lock up stuff over the phone.
We're all virtual, so we are all virtual.
Exactly. And it's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get to $1 million months.
Hell yeah.
That's my goal.
Yeah.
You got me hyped up.
I like that.
I want to get to $1 million months. And the way to do that is we need to make sure we convert every closable lead. And I'm sorry, but there's so many leads that you cannot close over the phone.
I know.
You have to get in person.
Yeah.
And that's what we can do now since we're in our own backyard.
Yeah.
I was talking to my guy, a big guy in our market, and I remember we were kind of shooting the crap over the phone, and he's like, yeah, we just closed out last month at $3 million.
Dang.
Wholesaling.
Was it Doug Hopkins?
His partner, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And
they do all appointments. I see their cars all over the place, like I would be in LA and all that stuff.
So it's like, okay, what was the missing piece?
Yeah.
The beautiful, you know the whole 4-minute mile thing?
Yeah.
When, nobody could do the 4-minute mile, but then when somebody did it, they got the 4-minute mile was like nothing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the same thing, man. They're able to do $1, $2, $3 million months. Now, obviously, their marketing budget's huge, but they got a lean, mean team.
Yeah,
they're literally getting the same front of the sellers exactly as we are, the same sellers.
Yeah, but they're just like in person, so they build more rapport. They're able to like see the house, understand what their offer is going to be, all that stuff. So yeah. So
so the reason why we're already building up our momentum is because we do a lot of novations as well. So we have this one guy, he really closed a lot of novations for next month, but again, they're able to get in front of his house and they're able to convert a lot more of these sellers.
So what have you seen? So how long have you been doing this in-person appointment model?
Heavily, probably like 2-3 months.
And what have you seen as far as like average wholesale fee or conversion ratio since switching from virtual?
Well, like I said, that's what we were talking about first, is that what do we work on currently? So my numbers are not fully there.
Yeah.
I can't tell you exactly what the conversion is. The goal is every 5 appointments, you get a conversion. But right now it was actually looking good because we did have appointment setters in-house. And they were booking a lot of appointments, so it was fantastic. But then what happened, we had about 2-week dry spell where we got rid of them. And now we are obviously fully virtual. We got 4 guys so we want 2 appointment setters per closer. So we got 4 people running right now, and they just started doing it full time today. So they just got done training, so they're going to start booking all the appointments. So I know when their schedule's full, that's when, like I said, we can maybe hop on the phone in a month or 2, but their schedules are about to be just massively full. And I think that's when we're going to start seeing all the.
Got it. So you have 4 setters and 2 appointment guys.
We have 2 closers right now. I had to let one go, as we talked about. I'm actually going to be hiring one today. So he's at 10. Actually, I think while we're speaking right now, that he's going through his 4th interview. So we're very big on hiring the best, but hiring right as well. So
yeah. So so that could be like let's talk about the season that I'm in. So, and then I want to hear Justin. So I think for me, for sure, the season that I'm in right now is becoming more disciplined. I used to be very rigid and very strict and very disciplined. And I feel like I fell away from that with all types of things, with my health, with my business, with my time. I just started becoming more like whatever. So we just had a Bible study before this, and we were talking about, like our body's a temple and You know, would we be acting the way we're acting if Jesus was right there? Like, for sure, I would not be eating the way that I eat if Jesus was right there. Like, I just eat whatever, right? And I used to have a 6-pack. I used to be in phenomenal shape. I used to be so strict with my time. I wasn't like on Instagram. I used to be like anti-social media. Now I'm like addicted to social media. And yeah, I think just raising my standards on myself on discipline. Mm-hmm. And then also business season wise, I think just not settling for below average standards. Mm-hmm. Like me and Justin were talking about this the other day, that like I heard Alex Hermosi say, like, if you have to create stupid rules in your company, that means you probably don't have A players. So like if I have to be like, hey guys, like, you got to let us know if you're not coming in. Hey guys, like there's leads in the CRM and you're not calling them. Like here are the things. Okay, you're still not calling them. All right, guys, if you don't call your leads in 2 days, we're gonna have to take them. Just like dumb rules like that. I'm just like, we're in a season right now where it's like, hey, we're not gonna settle for the easy convenience of babysitting people. We're going to just say, hey, like, sucks. We're going to have to go back and find someone new and pour more into the A players, because our A players right now produce 80% of our revenue or more. And then that's like 2 people. Then we have another 6 that we're still trying to like get up to those 2. So understanding that balance. Justin, what would you say? What season you're in?
Business-wise, I think business-wise, the season I'm in is all my focus is getting like the other salespeople like up to par.
Yeah.
Like, all my focus.
So increasing our sales.
The revenue, because it's like during work, I'm like, how can I get them better? How can they convert every single lead? Whereas like if I'm calling the same leads, I want them to like at least get close, like similar results.
Yeah.
Like after work, I'm like, all right, how do you like sales manage better? Like that's like where my thoughts right now.
Yeah. So you said sales management right now. And what about on your personal side?
Personal, honestly, I didn't realize you were in that season. It's probably similar to me.
Yeah.
With like discipline.
Yeah.
I used to be like super strict with everything, with
Yeah.
my health, like insanely strict with sleep time, wake up time, like all that stuff. And then I don't know what happened, but it's like I can feel the momentum coming back. So
Yeah, I could feel it too. Yeah. And I think it starts with me. The more strict and the more strict I am, it will trickle down into my team members. Mm-hmm. And Layla Hermosi said something recently where she was like, the discipline you practice when you're alone produces confidence when you're in front of other people. Mm-hmm. So I think that's where I'm at.
Gotcha. What are you doing to solve it?
Raising my standards on myself. So like, we'll take a practical thing. Like right now, I was watching Michael Johnson, the Live Forever guy. He was like, I'm a professional sleeper, right? I'm not like where, if people are staying out late drinking, I'm going to just stay just because they're there. So he has a very strict routine on, I go to bed at this time, I stop eating at this time, I'm tracking these KPIs, I need my resting heart rate to be as low as possible, so when I go to bed, like, you get better sleep, and then like you live longer when your resting heart rate is lower, because they say like your life has, let's just say, we'll say, I don't know, 10 million beats, right? An average life has 10 million beats. I'm making up that number, but he said the number. Well, obviously, if your heart beats slower, you're going to get to that it's going to take you longer to get to that 10 million beats. Okay. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And then how do you lower your heart rate? Exercising, not eating bad food, not drinking alcohol, not drinking caffeine. I'm not going to give up drinking caffeine because I love caffeine, but just like that would be a practical thing. With the team, it's just holding them more accountable, letting people go. Like if someone doesn't want to do their job, I shouldn't have to force you to just do the bare minimum, pretty much. Like, hey, like if you can't even just do the bare minimum on your own, like I can't rely on me and Justin's strength and discipline to hold you accountable, to just do basic things, right? Like showing up on time, calling your leads when you're supposed to, right? Putting notes into the CRM, putting a follow-up date into the CRM, like just basic things. If someone can't do them, they probably shouldn't work here. We probably did a bad job on hiring, and that's our fault. So,
I like that. Well, you kind of said two things there. First off, everybody who's watching deals with the same thing, right?
For sure.
Anybody who's hiring people deals with the same thing. And then, so there's two things right there. You got your health, obviously that you're in, and then you got your management,
time
of
management,
obviously the team stuff. And the health thing, that's always gonna be up and down roller coaster, right? One thing me and my wife are doing, and I love about this, is we have this accountability thing. So we've been working out a lot more heavier as well. We've been tracking our macros. We use this app called Cal AI, fantastic app. So the last couple of weeks I've been actually tracking my macros. So that's been fantastic.
Oh yeah.
But one thing that I am going to enjoy really talking about is obviously the team stuff, team management. Yeah. So right now, you're obviously you've struggled with, all the people. Tell us more about that. And first off, does your people watch this?
Probably not. If they do, I don't care.
And so, what are you doing to possibly better yourself to be a better manager and leader?
Yeah. So, first, understanding my strengths and weaknesses. So, for sure, I am extremely blunt and straight to the point. And
spoken like a true CEO.
Yeah. But that's why I have Justin. So,
That's
Justin is the COO. And he leads the day-to-day. So if I see something wrong and I don't think I could handle that conversation the best, I'm okay with having him do it.
Yeah.
Because before, what I would do if I saw something wrong, I would immediately just be like, hey, why are you late every day? It's not that hard to get here on time, right? So I would do that, where now I'm like, okay, let me have Justin talk to him, because if I talk to him, it's probably not going to be the best. And instead of me trying to reform myself into this manager person,
for sure,
it's a waste of time, because I'm not going to be good at it. And my time is better spent on how do I generate the whole company more? How do I go out and recruit more people? How do I figure out what strategies are working and implementing them? How do I do the things that are going to push everything forward, instead of trying to downgrade myself to skills that I'm not good at, right? So if someone's not good at sales, hire a salesperson. You could work on being good at sales, but your limit is going to be lower than just hiring a great salesperson. So just understanding where my strengths and weaknesses are, and then on top of that, stopping myself from starting new things, because like a true CEO, I love to start new things. I'm like, dude, we should buy multifamily. And then I'll talk to Justin, and I'm like, Justin, tell me if I'm tripping.
Yeah.
But I feel like this is going to work. And then he'll be like, yeah. Sometimes I could sell him on it. Sometimes he's like, no, I don't think we should do that. And then I'm like, okay. And then it just helps me take myself off the ledge of starting a brand new thing.
Dude, that's all of our struggle, right? As a visionary. Here's the thing, man. I was in the military. You got to think about, and then after that, I was in the fire department for another 4 or 5 years. Do you think that type of leadership would work in our kind of environment?
What type of leadership?
Just think about a military leader.
Yeah, strict and hard and.
Yeah, you don't show up, you go, you're in trouble.
Running. Yeah.
Right? You don't show up on time. If you want time, you late.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You gotta show up early. And
so, do you think? I was in service for 8 years. So I didn't do one term. I did 2 terms. Then I was in the fire department for another couple of years. So to me, it was a learning curve to figure out to be a better leader for an office environment. I thought that everybody, to be honest, because there's a lot of service guys, people in the service were in the fire department as well. So, so when I was in the fire department, I was around a lot of guys who were in the service. So we kind of already had the same mindset. But then when I got out and then I started to start building a team myself, there was a big misalignment with my type of leadership than to go into the office space, right? When it comes to micromanagement and managing people, feedback, all the different one-on-ones, data. So that's why I give you this book, and because I have other books I would always recommend too. Like another book I think on top of my head is How to Be a Great Boss by that one was Gino Wickman as well. And in those things, you got to first have one. You got to have core values. You have to have a mission statement. So everybody in my company right now understands the values. Everybody memorizes the values. So our core values is a growth-minded, competitive greatness, and extreme ownership. It's very simple. And I learned that from to make everything very simple too, because a lot of people don't remember stuff, right? So we want to keep things super simple. And my mission statement is we impact real estate journeys with excellence, ethics, and lasting relationships. In there, it's excellence, ethics, and you got to talk to people, buyers, sellers, like you're going to have a full-on relationship.
Yeah.
So I get to hold them to those standards. So when you give feedback, first, everybody got to know what the standards are.
Yeah.
So instead of going, hey, why are you late? You go, hey, because there's three steps to when you give feedback. And it took me a long time to figure this out. But you go, hey, let's call him Jim. Hey, Jim, you know we got to be in here at 8 a.m. You were here at 8:05.
Yeah.
How do we get here at 8 p.m.? So you got to have your standard. You tell them where they're at, and then you have them tell you how they're going to get up here. That's how you give feedback in any scenario.
Yeah. Justin's great at that. Justin's like the master at that. But that's why
So can you.
let him do it. I could, but again, it's not. I could do it. I could manage people. I could become a manager, but someone needs to lead.
For sure.
There's a difference between a manager and a leader. A leader is looking for a path that's unclear to take everyone. A manager is doing the empowering of others and figuring all that stuff out. So like I said, I've already after being in business for 10 years, right? I could use another example, accounting, right? I suck at accounting. I am bad. Like I am really like that is a Achilles heel of me, right?
Yeah.
I could go hire a bookkeeper, or I could sit my dumb butt down in front of QuickBooks and spend days trying to figure it out. Which one is better for my time? Obviously, it's going to be, let me hire someone and let me go try to figure out how to make more than $8,000 a year instead of wasting my time and potentially just wasting the whole year because I didn't do it right.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? So like our core values are integrity, work ethic, extreme ownership, faith, and empower others. So empower others is just like you said, like instead of me coming down on people, it's like, hey, Aaron, like, dude, we really believe that you could, be an A player and like A players. What do A players do? Like, let's go, just coming at it from that perspective instead of like a disciplinary perspective.
Yeah.
I know I'm like, I sound super intense right now, but I'm not usually this intense.
Dude, I talk to my people and I feel like, I don't know if you guys think I'm intense. I feel like I come off intense all the time.
Yeah.
Because we're so passionate.
Yeah. And I don't want to sit here and act like, I remember I was talking to a realtor like a couple days ago and our deal fell apart and the guy was like, dude, I don't want you to rip such and such a new butt. And I was like, bro, first of all, such and such, our boy, he's a grown man. I'm not here to discipline adults. And I don't have employees.
Right.
No one works for me. We have team members. So we are holding each other accountable for the success of the team. So that's why when people are like, oh, how's it like working for Ryan? People would always say that to me. I'd be like, number one, I don't work for anyone. Just so that's clear, right? I don't have a W-2 job. I work with Ryan, and it's great. We get this. But I hold the same standard to my team members. They don't work for me. They are part of this team, and this team's mission is to do X, Y, Z. So, like, I don't like employee mindsets just overall. Yeah. You know what I mean?
None of us do.
Yeah. Well, some people do. Some people like it.
I guess, let's talk about that. Like, what is an employee mindset?
Is doing the minimum. They just show up. It's a body in the office. They do their thing. They're on YouTube on their free time at the office watching something unrelated. They're not looking to grow. Yeah. They're looking to show up for a certain amount of time, collect the paycheck, so then outside of their life, they could do whatever they want. That's not the case here.
Yeah.
Like, and people are like, oh, aren't you breeding entrepreneurs? No. Like, some people want to grow in the company and they like the camaraderie. They like, not having to take all these risks of rent and buying deals and marketing and all this other crap. Like they are, not willing to do that. Shout out to Elizabeth.
Well, let's talk about Justin. Okay, so so you could probably say Justin is a high A player, right?
Yeah, I would say Justin and Elizabeth and Angie are high A players.
There we go. How can we duplicate? And this comes a lot from the book Multipliers, but let's talk about that. How can we duplicate Justin, right? What do you like in Justin that maybe you haven't found in somebody else that might make you angry? Right?
Yeah. Well, that's a great question, actually. That's a very good question. I would say what I like about Justin, first of all, he is disciplined, even though right now he's saying he's not. He is extremely disciplined. Yeah. Like if you look at his calendar,
he looks disciplined.
So
that's awesome, man.
So that's pretty impressive, right? Mm-hmm. I feel like that's very impressive. I don't even do that.
I think
like
it's very impressive,
he's very. Do you do that?
No.
He tracks 15 minutes by 30 minutes. Yeah, he tracks every 15 minutes, 30 minutes every day. Color codes it, and then he'll at the end of the day review like, okay, what did I spend my time on? Okay, we need to move this. So Justin, discipline. Also, very just such a nice, loving guy. Like everyone loves Justin. No one has ever complained about Justin. Justin's worked with me for years now. He started off as a student, then he started working at Wealthy Investor, then he's now running our wholesale operation. So like I would say discipline, great culture fit, and just a willingness to just grow and learn.
Yeah.
So I would say those are probably like what we need to really start.
So where does that all start?
Well, he's Asian.
Got to go to the Asian communities.
Asian parents are usually pretty strict. Yeah, very.
Not necessarily, obviously with our guy over here, but to find more people like that. What are you doing right now to like recruit talent?
I recruit straight from social media. So if someone wants to work with me, they go to Instagram, the Brian Davila, send me a DM. There's a form in the description of this YouTube video where I spoke to someone today.
Nice.
His name was, dang it, I forgot his name. Actually, I'm not even going to say his name, but he reached out to me on the form of the description of this video, and he was like, dude, I want to work with you. I've been watching you on YouTube. He's a Christian guy. So I would say social media for me has been huge.
Been your spot.
Yeah, I don't really like hiring off of Indeed and like all these platforms. I've noticed that like the people that I attract, and I made it sound like I have terrible employees. We have great employees. Like we're doing great.
We're not saying
we're doing great.
We are just talking about obviously leadership, management, recruiting high talent, how to handle when maybe you do have a bad employee.
Yeah. And
because I have bad employees. Like I've had bad employees.
Yeah.
And sometimes, who knows, maybe my good employees will turn into bad employees. That happens as well.
Yeah.
So how do you handle that? How do you give that, like I said, that feedback? How do you lead them? Because again, you say that leadership and management is two separate things, and it kind of is and it kind of isn't. So for example, you obviously, Justin, you said he's the guy who did that, but you got to also manage Justin in a way.
Yeah, of course.
So you got to be able to give him feedback. So you're also managing your top executives, right? People that report to you, you got to manage them.
Of course,
you got to teach them how to lead.
Exactly.
So and obviously we got to be good at that as well, and that's why Layla Mosley talks about a lot of times is these are a bunch of micro skills that we got to constantly build.
Oh, for sure.
And that's why I have the last year and a half, I've been super obsessed on building those skills, building those micro skills myself, trying to figure out how can I be a better communicator with my people.
Yeah.
So matter of fact, I'm heading to a mastermind right now, and I'm going to be speaking on that very topic. And that is one, what is your employee's deeper why? How do you find that? And how do you drive that deeper why into their performance? So
Yeah. I think we do that already. So like,
it's hard. It's not easy.
I mean, it's not that hard, honestly. It's really not that hard. Let's be real. Like I talk to our team members. I'm like, what are I asked them in the very beginning, what are your goals? Like in the very, very beginning, like in the interview process. And they're like, well, I want to make more money. And I'm like, great. Like, why? And then usually they're like, okay, I'm about to get married. I'm like, oh, okay. So now I understand where they're at in their life. Or like, oh, I want to buy my mom a house.
Yeah.
We have a team member that I told him we're going to help him buy a house this year for his mom. Yeah. We have another team member who's about to get married. And, he's about to start that life as a husband. So I'm okay, I understand where he's at. So not only can I help financially, but as a married man, a little bit older than him, I could give him, advice and help on that. So it's really not that hard. It's
Well,
just
so that's in the very beginning, right?
Yeah.
So when I say hard, what I'm talking about is constantly ingrain it into your one-on-ones, right? When they're not performing, bringing up that wedding when they're not performing or hitting their numbers, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Brian, you didn't hit your numbers this month.
Yeah.
Again, remind me what you wanted to do if you were able to hit your numbers, get married, whatever.
Yeah.
Perfect. By hitting your numbers, tell me what would that do for you? And then you have them repeat it, right? And so you got to be able to get personal with them, because I've had employees that are very superficial, don't want to go too deep with me. And obviously, because I'm the manager and all that, right?
Yeah.
And so, you almost got to call that out, you know what I mean? And you want to drive that, because why I was able to do what I did, because I had my deeper why. Your employees have their deeper why, and you just got to constantly regurgitate that into their one-on-ones.
Yeah, and it also depends. I think it depends on the person. So on top of running real estate teams, we ran freaking 8-figure a year education company, right?
Wow, yeah.
So we've had over 100 employees before, not at once, but throughout the life of the business.
Yeah.
I've had some A players that they just come in and they kill it and they just want to be left alone. And sometimes you're just like, you know what? Justin doesn't need to show up to the call, guys. Like for real. I'm like, this guy collected $300K. You guys are at 50. He's earned the right that if he doesn't want to be bothered and he wants to be on sales calls, great. Like,
I couldn't agree with you more. So every goal for us right now, every goal in a day is a contract. You get a contract, head home.
Yeah.
I don't need to hear from you.
Yeah.
My ultimate goal is never to micromanage.
Exactly.
But you don't hit your numbers, be prepared to start understanding. And that, again, that's in that book too, is that then you got to look at the dials, the calls, the talk time, what your CRM, what your pipeline look like. Because my ultimate goal is only results. If you give me results, you never hear from me.
Yeah. We're going to put in the description of this video what we use to hold our team accountable every day. So we have a meeting every single day. Guess who leads it?
Justin.
Not me. Yeah, Justin.
There you go.
So first thing is we go over wins. Very first thing, like what happened yesterday.
Love it.
So like, okay, we closed the deal, found things to improve the dispo process. Justin got to spend more time with one of our setters and improved his process of whatever. And then it goes to daily activity. So then we have dials, we have leads, we have offers received. That's on our dispo side. And then offers and buyers added to our CRM. Nice. And I do want to talk to you about dispo. And then we go over hots, like what is hot in the pipeline right now that we need to see, what we need to do to push. And then we have dispo. So we go over each one of our deals, like where are we at in the dispo process? Do we need to get a price reduction, or do we need to get a cancellation? Yeah. Like what is happening?
Love it.
And then we have questions, concerns, and feedback. So everyone goes through and it's like, hey, what do you need help with? Da, 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 blah, 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 blah. And then on the side of it, we have our core values: integrity, hard work, extreme ownership, empower others, and faith. And we do this as a group every single day.
I love that.
So even though, again, like I probably sound like we're just like these violent leaders, I'm just very enthusiastic. And then when I'm like, people aren't performing, we're doing 6 figures a month consistently right now. So we're not doing bad. No. But I want to get to a $10 million a year wholesale in flip operation. And the only way to do that is not by me sitting here babysitting adults, right? Yeah. That's not me being like, Aaron, you only made 10 calls yesterday. Like that ain't gonna get us XY there. We need to do that. Someone needs to do that, but then someone else needs to be like, okay, how do we add $2 million to our revenue? It's not going to be by babysitting.
And I love that you found Justin. I need a Justin myself.
Yeah, you probably have a Justin. You just don't want to like give him a shot.
There you go. I probably do. You know who you are.
Yeah. Do you think you have a?
Not right now.
No. Okay.
We'll get there.
Okay. Yeah. So, what does your organization look like today?
My ultimate goal is to stay lean and mean. I always thought we needed a big organization to go crazy, but you could actually have just a couple closers that are just constantly ringing out deals, contracts, right? So our organization currently, right now, as it stands, it's me and my wife. So we're partners. She is the most amazing individual. So I know she's going to be watching this later.
Shout out to your wife.
Dude, Michaela Gaunt is the most incredible. So obviously, she was with me before this, right? So she helped me fight for my daughter. She's been through the business. That woman supports me. Every good man needs, every man who's an entrepreneur needs a good woman like our wives, right?
Yeah,
Who just
true.
push us. And,
Shout out to Jessica Davila.
there you go.
I love you, Ma.
And so obviously, beautiful wife. She's my CEO. So she does a lot of that stuff.
You do have a CO then.
Yes, but she doesn't run like the sales stuff. That's me. She does a lot of the back end stuff too. She does get in front. She's also a realtor. She lists all of our novations, all of our listings.
Oh, okay.
She runs a lot of. Anyways, so it's me and my wife, and then we have a transaction coordinator, Bryn. What a killer hire that was. So she's been crushing it for us. We have 2 disposition girls. They've been with us for a little over a year, so they're crushing it. And then we have 2 closers right now. We're going to hire probably a third today. I want to end the year between 4 to 5. Obviously you always want 3 minimum.
Closers?
Yeah, you always want 3 minimum just for insurance and stuff like that. That's why we have 2 dispo, right? One calls out, whatever, the properties go to the next one, right? So you always want almost like 2 of everything.
Yeah.
Even like my TC, like my wife used to be our TC. So that's how that looks like.
Start calling you Noah.
Like
Noah's Ark. 2 of everything.
And then we have 4 setters. We have a VA that's been with us for 4.5 years. So yeah, just lean on me, man.
Okay. Yeah. So let's go over just KPIs and pay, right? Okay.
KPIs and pay.
KPIs and pay. So let's start with dispositions.
Okay.
What do you hold your dispositions to KPI wise?
Yeah, for sure. So it just changed recently this year. But if we look back last year, I at least want minimum 2 deals closed. So technically for them, it's 2 contracts a month. Sorry, 2 contracts a week. So that's 8 contracts, and then with EMD in. So I don't consider a contract until that EMD is in, right?
Yeah.
I'm
glad you had to clear that up. We had to do that a couple of times where we're like, our sales guys are like, we got the contract accepted. I'm like, where is it at? Oh, they haven't sent it to us yet. The seller hasn't signed it. I'm like, okay, well then you didn't get it accepted. So let's just.
Well, I'm talking about more on the dispo side.
Yeah.
A lot of buyers will like to sign, think they're locking stuff up. If that EMD is not in, so we have a bell in our office, and if they don't get to ring that bell until the EMD is in. Once that EMD is in, they get to ring that bell. So they need to sell 2 deals a week. And again, it's going to go up to probably 3 here a week. I want like EMD in. And so I want a minimum of $260,000 per rep. Right now, that could go up as well per rep. And then on my acquisition side, I want 3 contracts because obviously some fall out with it being title, if they locked it up weird, fraud, whatever. So I want 3 contracts a week. Same thing. I want no more than 50% close rate. Like obviously, you need to always make that better. But if it's anything like what was it called? If it's anything like lower than that, obviously we got a lot of work to do. And then my setters, they need to be booking 3 appointments a day.
Got it.
And so that's for my closers. And then
let's talk about dispo real quick. So, so you said 2 contracts a week, $260K a month in assignments, right?
Yeah.
And then
so that's based off a $40,000 assignment fee. That's our average.
Average is $40,000. Okay. What activities do the dispo people what activities do the dispo people have to do every day? And then what is your dispo process?
Yeah, pretty straightforward. So let's say a contract comes in, because we run market meetings every Wednesday too. So where we basically break everything down. Once after our morning huddle, kind of like you shared with us, we do the same thing. We do a morning huddle. We used to do an end of day debrief as well, but we do an EOD. So anyway, they'll basically give us a daily deployment, saying this is my basically low-hanging fruit. This is the property I know I could sell today or I'm going to work on today. We used to do a secondary, but then they would focus on both. I just need you to work on 1 property a day. And then what they'll do is they'll start, run their numbers. They will figure out, what do we have it under contract for? They'll have, what we're going to blast it out for. Then we have multiple different programs. They got to make a bunch of calls, just like anything else. If you could lock it up, if you could literally just send a text, sell that deal, you're done for the day. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But I at least want over 100 calls to buyers.
We also 100 calls.
Yeah.
A day?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And what we do is we also
Brianna
do
got some work to do.
we also do open houses. So what they'll do is TC will schedule an open house. We'll try to get as many buyers as possible to those open houses. So we want about 20 buyers at those open houses. I'm telling them to bring. What their ultimate goal is to tell these buyers to bring their contractors, friends, partners. They'll even call just random people just to fill that open house up to create that feeding frenzy. So
do you let wholesalers go?
If they want to, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, obviously, that's going to come down. That's more of a conversation when it comes down to actual paperwork, right? But if we just get people through that house to create that feeding frenzy, that's how we're going to get, obviously, the buyers, right? And then 24 hours later, they'll usually accept an offer. And I want 3 offers on every property. So if, let's say, the property is not selling, I want 3 offers. And if they don't have 3 offers on a property, they need to go back and go find a couple more offers.
What questions or what do you think, Justin, about all that?
I like the open house frenzy.
Open house frenzy? Yeah. We don't do the open houses.
And the girls go there too. So they'll put on their polo, they'll go there, and that's a great opportunity to network with their buyers.
Yeah.
So so that's another thing I read in my book is being out in the field with them.
Yeah.
And so I'd go out in the field with them to the open house, and I would show them how to just talk to your buyers, shake their hands, ask them how many deals they're going to do. When are we going to do? What are you looking to buy? And even just stuff, like giving stuff out. Like I said, if it's Valentine's Day, 'cause I think when we were out there, it was Valentine's Day. Like give them like hearts to remember you at, And so it's a great opportunity for them to start networking with their buyers.
What about what is the seller doing during this open house?
So there's 2 things that could happen. Obviously, the seller could stay there, and that's fine. We make sure we tell the buyer not to talk to our sellers. Obviously, to talk to us, kind of like a realtor, right? You don't talk to the seller. The second thing that we always do is we try to give the seller a $50 gift card to go have lunch for an hour.
Got it.
Yeah, so we want them out.
So are you guys just telling the seller straight up that you're wholesaling it?
Yeah, sometimes. A lot of times, we'll tell them like we're probably going to bring a buyer to the table, because obviously they got to read the contract to them, and there it says, hey, this is a possibility we could take down, or obviously bring a buyer. So sometimes, like we'll say, because like when we hold these open houses, you'll see contractors, other potential buyers that we're going to might resell it to.
Yeah.
Their friends, stuff like that.
Got it. Okay. Dispo wise, so when your dispo reps are making $100 a day, what CRM are they using to do dispo?
So they don't have a CRM just yet. What they do is they work out of spreadsheets and Investor Lift.
Oh, okay. So they call from their cell phone.
No, they use an app called Dialpad.
Oh, okay. So they use a Dialpad, spreadsheets, and Investor Lift.
Yep. And then obviously, as their relationship start building, I'm telling them, one thing I really drill into them is like, think of this like your own business. Yeah. Start creating those relationships, because what I want you guys to understand is like, I don't want to hire any more dispo reps. I want us to start slinging so many dang contracts that you just know who's going to buy it, and then you hit them up, they sell it, and because obviously we don't want there to be a bottleneck. We've had that experience where obviously we got too many contracts and we can't get to them in time. But I think we also figure that out too, because what happened, the big change we just did that has been phenomenal, is we used to have our dispo reps also call the seller. So like an acquisition guy would get the contract, the dispo rep would call the seller and try to like almost babysit them through the transaction. But then what happens? Sellers start to talk your ear off and et cetera. So they really take a lot of their time and they can't sell the deal. So what we're doing, so we actually did is we upped our TC's base a little bit, and now she's going to handle all the sellers' conversations, and our dispo reps are now just project managers to the seller. So like obviously when they go and do the open houses, they're the project manager. And yeah, so it's really relieved a lot of this stuff. And now they're just slinging deals. Like I'm like, guys, we got to get more contracts in here because they're just slinging deals.
Yeah, that's kind of like how we run it. So we have our acquisition people, and then once they get it under contract, our TC takes over. Yeah. And then our dispo person just worries about dispoing the deal, not necessarily.
That was a big mistake we did, folks.
Yeah. And then we're implementing something in our company where our dispo reps need to add 20 people a day into our CRM. So Are you guys just posting everything on Investor Lift, or you guys don't have your own?
We have our own list. So they need to do it just about that as well. They need to be constantly adding buyers, and they get it through like investor base and title companies and stuff like that.
Yeah, and then so do you blast it out to your buyers first, or you just hit Investor Lift right away?
Right now, because actually we're in the middle of moving over to Constant Contact. So right now we were blasting everything out through Investor Lift.
And are you going to get away from that?
Probably, yeah.
Why?
So I'm not here to talk bad about Investor Lift or anything like that, but I'm going to talk bad about Investor Lift. So I just think that the buyers are starting to kind of become numb to the site.
Yeah.
And I think
It's a wholesaler feeding ground.
Yeah, it's a feeding ground for wholesalers, right?
Yeah.
And what we've seen is Robert, to me, this is just my opinion, that he's really has focused too much on the wholesaler and not too much on the buyer.
Got it.
By creating a better experience for the buyer.
Creating a better experience.
Yeah, because like for example, let's say when they get a blast from Investor Lift, they'll have a link, right?
Yeah.
And that link, they gotta click it. And let's say these guys are every investor guys makes. I always tell my girls, like, if they can't get a hold of an investor, I'm always telling them, like, these guys have the money. Do you think they're just sitting around? These guys are constantly hustling. They're out in the field. They're doing their thing, right?
Yeah.
To make more money to buy more deals. And so obviously what they're going to do, they're going to have everything from their phone. So you click the link, and then they got to like log in, and then you got to log in just to see the pictures.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
So.
Yeah, it is a little hard sometimes to look at deals. And it's funny that you say that, because even though I'm younger and tech savvy, sometimes people will send me stuff and I'll try to click on it. And if I can't figure it out in a second, I just like, I don't know.
Same.
Yeah. So that's interesting. I never even thought about that until you just said that. Because people are always like, are you on our Investor Lift? And I'm like, yeah. They send me the deal. I click on it. I try to log in. It doesn't work or whatever. And then I'm just like,
Yeah. So we're cleaning up our list right now. We have, a crap ton of buyers on our list. And so we're just cleaning it up, and then we're going to upload it to Constant Contact.
From your 100 deals that you did last year, how many buyers would you say you worked with? Damn, that was a good question. That was such a good question.
That is a good, man.
Bro.
Pat yourself on the back, dude.
Dude, you didn't give me it, so I just had to ask myself that. That was a good one.
How many buyers have we? I mean, I told my wife to stand by if I had any questions. I have no idea. What we do though is we try to keep that relationship. So, for example, that's another person on my team that I didn't say executive assistant. Thanks to you, because I saw a podcast and you said you need an executive assistant.
Yeah.
I hired an executive assistant months ago. So,
oh really?
So yeah. So what she does, she actually gets Temecula bottles of champagne. And then we have like little cards and say, thank you for doing deals with us. So we send all to our buyers. Every time they close a property, we send them like a little gift. We send them a gift, just thanking them for closing on our deal and stuff. So, I mean, out of those 100, probably like 40, 20 to 40 maybe.
Okay.
I'd never sit there and count.
I would be very interested, because I wonder how many repeat buyers do you have? Or is it just like a new buyer? Like,
no, yeah, we got a few repeat buyers. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you could just tell, like, you could say a name and I might know who that is. So
I'm sure you do, but I just wonder, because like I would say, even thinking about our business, we don't have a lot of repeat buyers.
Right. Well, especially so we do a handful of novations. We do some listings. So obviously those are not going to be repeat buyers either.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting now that I think about it. We don't have a lot of repeat
Not
buyers.
Like back in 2022 when they were just gobbling stuff up.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Like the same people were gobbling stuff up.
Exactly.
Like I remember you did a podcast here with our guy Adrian. And like I said, that was my favorite podcast. Shout out to you, Adrian.
Oh, I got another one coming out this Thursday.
Oh, yeah. I saw he was here with another guy.
Yeah. That other guy's a freaking beast, dude.
Is he?
He's a beast. That guy was a monster from Fresno. His name's Jason P.
Okay.
So wise, bro. Do you know him? Pritchard, yeah. So wise, bro.
Nice.
He was one of the wisest guys I've sat down with.
Wow.
Yeah, so.
Well, I can't wait till that one comes out during my lunch. I'll watch it.
There you go. But
but anyways, I remember you threw out Ricardo, and he I remember back in the day, and
he'd buy everything.
What's that?
He would buy everything.
Yeah, he would buy everything and did a bunch of deals with them. So
is he still buying, or what happened to him?
I don't know.
He never hits me back up. I don't know what happened to him.
He's a great guy. He's really focused on. He's really big into Maxwell. Is that
leadership?
The leadership guy.
Yeah.
And so he's really big into that. And great guy. He's right there in Temecula too. So.
Is he buying your deals still or no?
No. Last time I did a deal with him was probably 2022.
Yeah, that's very interesting, because like I would say early in my real estate career, it was like him, another guy named Aaron.
Aaron Mez.
Yeah, no, I don't even want to say his last name, but he's like a interesting guy. So him, Aaron, who else? There was another guy I used to work with, Manuel. He was in Ontario.
Okay.
I would sell like 90% of my deals just to those three guys. Like they were just buying everything.
Right.
And now it's like not as people obviously aren't as confident as like they were before.
Yep.
A lot of people got smacked around in 2022. So we probably have like another
just a flush of new people.
Yeah. So I would say give it like another 2 to 4 years, and then you'll get the people who are just crazy, and then the market will shift, and those people will eat crap, and then it's just like a cycle of like, or people just get burnt out. You know what I'm saying? Like I used to be one of those flippers where I was known as like the buyer. Like everybody would hit me up to buy.
Yeah.
I don't get that as much because I'm not buying as much. I'm still buying, but I used to flip houses for $20K. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I used to flip a
saw the market
whole
go
damn
up.
house. Yeah, even that was before COVID. I was flipping houses for $20K.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
A lot of risk.
A lot of risk, bro. And I used to make it work.
I remember seeing you back in the day when I first got into the game, and I remember seeing you around.
Yeah, it's so weird that I used to do that. Because I'm like, dude, that's risky, bro.
What's your prediction on the market?
I think the market is just going to be great. I think Donald Trump is going to make America great again.
Yeah.
No, let me re-say that. I think Donald Trump is going to make real estate great again, and he's going to get interest rates down. We're going to see home values go up. We're going to see days on market go down. He's going to appoint the head of the Fed, I believe, in like 2026.
Okay.
So Jerome Powell is on his way out. So there's just going to be a lot of changes. I think real estate is cyclical. I think we just went through our hard season, and we're about to go into a good season. And then there's going to be another hard season, and then I think it's going to be great.
That's what I'm excited about is you saw it, right? When the interest rate went up, it just wiped out everybody.
Yep.
So obviously some of those wholesalers have stuck around.
Yes.
Back to the podcast, my guy Adrian, I want to call him out a little bit because you asked the question like any other upcoming wholesalers in the Southern California area. I was like, why was I not mentioned?
Oh,
and
you fake, Adrian. I know he's gonna watch this.
I know he's such a good guy.
Adrian.
He's such a good guy. And but anyways, we've been getting close to a little more closer through our mastermind, but anyways, it wiped a lot of people out. And so if you've written it out through those tough times, you will be able to just annihilate the market when it is like when we're able to ride that wave and we were able to pivot when you needed to pivot and you stuck to real estate, bro. I mean, it's gonna be endless. And all those wholesalers and all those realtors, the statistics was what was it? Thousands of realtors went out of business. You didn't think that the same thing with wholesalers,
Oh, for sure.
And so we're super excited that we stuck it out. I mean, we're having our best years through these tough markets, and every single year we're just going up more and more. So
so okay, so that was disposition. Anything else on dispositions before? No. Okay, now let's talk about acquisitions. So what are KPIs, daily metrics with your closers?
Like I said, I want three contracts a week. Okay. And then right now it's I don't really care about talk time, calls, and all that, but I want 3 contracts. In their pipeline, they should always have about 15 to 25 leads always in their pipeline. One thing we always saw when we were in-house, they would have 60, 100 leads plus in their pipeline, and then they're not calling all their leads, they're not following up with their leads. And so and that's another reason why we're shifting the way our model is in person is that you always got to have 15 to 25 hot negotiated leads that are in your end zone. And once they're not, or if they're not in your end zone, or let's say you go to an appointment, it was just a total listing, you push it back to the setter. And they'll obviously do whatever they need to do with it. Yeah. But they should only focus solely and have a laser focus on what's about to sell this week or this month.
Got it. Okay, I like that. Yeah, we've had that issue where we go through some of our salespeople's.
And our goal is for each rep to do, like I said, 260. But the direction that I think we're headed is going to be each individual needs to do about $400,000 to $500,000 a month.
Okay, and then how much do you pay your closers?
10%.
Okay. Yeah. No base or draw?
Draw in the first 3 months.
Okay, draw in the first 3 months, and then they're off.
Correct.
Yeah. What CRM do you use?
Follow Boss.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. That's
Yeah,
kind of
well-
more of like a realtor CRM. It feels like.
Yep.
Yeah.
I freaking love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you
Actually,
like it?
Adrian, speaking about him, because we're
Yeah.
talking a lot about him on this podcast, because he's always on your podcast.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He was actually the one who said, "Dude, we use Follow Boss," and I was using one at the time that I didn't like, and I remember Follow Boss, and yeah, so I went in, hired a company to help me dial it in, and I freaking love it because one thing I like about Follow Boss is they have these things called smart lists, and these smart lists, you don't have to put tasks. So a lot of times you do tasks to follow
Yeah.
leads and whatever. So now you do these smart lists, and so every time we have a setter or our closer, they just go to their smart list and be like, hey, you haven't called this lead in 3 days. It'll go to your smart list, and you need to clear your smart list every single day.
Oh, okay. I like that.
So there's no lead left behind.
yeah.
It's super simple. I'm a big person in simplicity.
Yeah.
Like when you build something out, you always got to figure out how to simplify it. So
Yeah.
simple scales, fancy fails, right?
Yeah.
So one thing I love about Follow Boss is super, super simple.
What about hiring acquisition people? So when you're looking to hire an acquisition person, what do you look for? Such a good question, bro. Dude, my questions are just on point today,
I feel like
boy.
these are the same questions.
I know it is. It is. I always ask the
Just
same
today,
question. Yeah.
they are phenomenal. So acquisitions, it's kind of changed over time. One thing, now that we're in person, I do need somebody who's a little more talkative, right? I used to always say, hey, if you're telling, you're not selling, which is still true in the way of you selling, right? When you sell, you ask good questions, you active listen. And you try to figure out a solution. You're puzzle solving. You're like a doctor trying to figure out the problem to give the medicine, right? So when it comes to, but now when you come to in-person appointments, I have this one guy, he might watch this podcast, I don't know, but he's a great individual, and he's killing it right now, but he talks a lot. And I used to always be like, hey, don't talk so much. You know what I mean? Hey, let's listen. Da, da, da. Well, anyways, he's able to now go to these houses and sit down with grandma and have these 2-3 hour conversations with grandma and get the contract, right?
Yeah.
Because he can talk and he just loves talking. He loves socializing. And so that's something I'm like, it was kind of like heightened. I was like, okay, hold on. Let's see if we could duplicate this. But anyways, But like we have a guy right now that I'm probably gonna hire. We did about 4 interviews with him, and he seems like a killer. He's a little bit on the older side. He's done real estate. He used to work for other investors, and he has a very big competitive nature. I mean, he literally said, "Put me up against anybody, in your company. I'll do really good." He's okay with the driving because I got to find a bunch of things now. I got to make sure you can sell. I got to make sure you have good time management. I got to make sure you're okay driving because obviously in Southern California, get into a property might take an hour and a half.
Do you guys do areas, or are they just all over the place?
All over the place right now, but we are in the middle of talking about you're in LA, you're in Riverside, you're in San Bernardino. But a lot of my guys go up to LA right now, like every day.
And are they all Temecula based?
No. So now we're changing to this model, we're able to hire now people in Los Angeles County, Orange County, Riverside. So this guy
that would be a disaster to like drive from Temecula to LA. That's 4 hours.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, so the guy who's a killer, another guy that I hired, his name's Joe, and he was actually he called him a road warrior, and so he did it prior to us as well, and he's been fantastic. He killed his interview process, and when we do interviews, we do a lot of role play exercises, and so he was phenomenal. But he's used to being on the road. He actually didn't want to sit around and make calls, and he wants to go out there. He wants to sit down with the seller. He wants to go drive around, and so that's a big thing. So every single step in the interview, we got to figure out, are you okay with driving? Right?
Yeah. Okay. So what's your interview process?
So our interview process, obviously, we got all the steps, the ads, we spend a lot of money on ads, on the Indeed is in there, and the rest of the stuff that you post your jobs. We have them obviously apply. What they do is we do a pre-screen. That pre-screen is huge. I don't have a great massive following like yourself, so obviously I don't hire anybody following me, but we hire. But I want people from other industries, right? I don't want just to hire wholesalers or wannabe entrepreneurs or stuff like that. So we hire obviously very good salespeople, and so they have these pre-screens, and my VA will book a time for them, and they'll ask them questions, about 4 questions. So I want to make sure, are you able to articulate yourself? Did you show up on time? Did you show up correct? Like, did you come up dressing like a slob? So I'll have like 20 different pre-screens to look at every single day at the end of the day. And so I get to, have this opportunity to check in it. You'll be surprised. You're not surprised because obviously you've hired so many people, but how people just show up.
Oh, I know.
to these interviews.
It's funny that now that I think about it, the people that show up late all the time at our company showed up late to their interview.
And it's like, oh, there might be a connection, right?
Yeah.
And so that's a huge thing. It's a huge time saver because I'm not going to sit there and wait for people on an interview and stuff. So I'll pick 1 to 2 a day out of those, and then she'll book a second interview. I say, hey, I want to talk to that person.
Yeah.
So I'll do a second Zoom interview. We'll go ahead and talk to that person. I'll ask a bunch of qualifying questions, do a lot of push away. What's your past experience? Why do you think it'd be a good experience? So. Then after that, if I do like them, a lot of times I'll cut it there. A lot of people don't even pass that. Then we'll bring them to the office, and they'll kind of see how the office is ran. Is this a place you want to see yourself work? And then we'll sit down and we'll do a role play exercise. Just, hey, we'll give you a scenario. Well, first off, they also get an email with the scenario. So I want to see, did you even read your email? Did you study the email? And then so in that role play exercise, after they're done, I'll ask them, how do you think you did with scale 1 to 10? I want to see how humble they are on knowing that obviously one of our core values is growth minded. So, we want to make sure that you always have room for improvement. Let's say, cool, let's do it again. I'll give them some feedback and I'll see if they'll use that feedback. That's a big thing too, because the worst people are the ones who don't use your feedback because they're about to come in. I always tell them, we're hiring you because you're a good salesperson, but you have to learn our process because it works, right? If you go in, you just crush it, and you do whatever process you want, but you bring in contracts, I don't care. But the day you stop performing, you come back to my process, right? So after that, then we do a background check because we hired somebody that was a bad hire, and we should have did a background check on them. Anyway, so we do a background check after that, and I think that's what happens though. It's like you go through these things and you learn and you implement, right?
Yeah.
And you instill them in your business. So we do a background check. Then my wife,
I'd be scared to do a background check on Justin. Some of our team members. That's so funny.
And then after that, if I like them, my wife will do an interview with them. And then she'll say, yeah, okay, I like them, and then we'll hire you.
Okay, got it. That's a long process. That's
You dang right. We want the best.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I know. We got to do.
I'm tired of those stupid conversations.
I know.
I've had the same stupid conversations, and I feel like sometimes I come off intense, but I'm just like, bro.
Yeah.
We all go through it, and it all sucks.
Yeah, it's all good. But yeah. So I think the only thing that we need to improve on our hiring process, I post, people reach out. I'll ask them about their experience. I'm looking for sales experience. And now I honestly want them to have some real estate experience because teaching people, I don't know how you feel about this, but teaching people real estate and trying to teach someone just sales is a lot. So I feel like their learning curve is long. Our best closer right now didn't have real estate experience, but he had a lot of sales experience.
Exactly.
And specifically buying things low and then reselling them himself. He used to do it with cars.
Exactly.
So I was like, okay, like you did it with cars, you did it with this. So I'm looking for some real estate experience or some real estate knowledge. I'm looking for some real sales experience. Like you've had to have a sales job. You've had to live off of commissions. You've had to do something like that before. It sounds silly, but I usually want them to live by the office.
For sure.
I don't want them like living across town more than 30 minutes away because then usually it starts to become a problem to get them in the office. I'm looking for some sign of work ethic, like right off the bat. Like, are they doing some sort of hobby or activity that's showing me that they're like work ethic wise? I tell everyone up front, hey, this is a Christian organization.
Yeah.
You don't have to be Christian. You don't have to convert. But I am Christian. We play Christian music here. We pray here. Like, again, I'm not pushing that on you, but that's what's currently happening. And if you don't feel comfortable with that, I don't want you to put yourself in a position where you feel uncomfortable. So I tell them that up front. We give them a predictive index, and then usually I'm looking for like a sales profile. Then we do like a role play or some sort of like trial on like just role playing.
Yep.
Then we usually try to have them do some sort of like where they actually get on the phones for a couple of hours or a day and just see if they even like the role. Because we've had people come in, they're like, I don't really like this. Or we see them on the phone and we're like, this is not This is not going to work out. That's our current. Am I missing anything, Justin? No, that's our current. Oh, and then another thing I do, because our salespeople are commission only. So I write on the board. I'm like, hey, look, Aaron, these are the metrics. You have to do 50 dials a day. I write it on the board. And I'm like, do you understand that, right? Does that make sense? So you're going to use Go High Level, and then you have to do 50 dials a day. Okay, cool. You have to get one new contract every week. We hold our closers to a high standard. They have to produce. This is not Keller Williams, because a lot of people come in from like real estate and was like, this isn't Keller Williams where there's 1,200 people that work here, but only 10 produce. Closers have to get one contract a week. Does that make sense? Are you going to feel comfortable with that kind of pressure? Like,
I really like in sharing those numbers before hiring.
100%. Yeah, it's open transparency.
Yeah.
And then we go over pay. Like, hey, if you do this, this is how much you will make. This is how much our closers are currently making. Are you comfortable with that? Okay. And then I say, hey, look, real estate takes time to build a pipeline, right? So it takes 60 to 90 days for you to see the fruit of what you're going to start doing today. You can close a deal before the next 60 days, but likely it will be 60 to 90 days. Can you withstand that? And I literally write this on the board.
There you go.
And I'm like, Aaron, do you understand this? Are you sure?
Yeah.
So 90 days, that's going to be March, April, May. Are you comfortable waiting that long? Because again, we've had people come in and then they're like, oh man, like 2 weeks in, I'm like, I told you. Like I told you up front. I told you how to make the dials. I told you how to do the one contract. And we have had people where they're like, man, I'm just so excited to work here. The environment's so great. Like, again, I make everything sound so dramatic, but they're like, dude, I love this and I love that. And I'm like, I'm glad that you love it. Just so we're clear, you have to do these metrics. And even if you like it, even if you're a good culture fit, you can't work here if you can't do these things. Even though we like you, like I like you a lot.
Yeah.
But this is the standard. And if you can't hit that standard, then it's not good for you because you're not going to make the money. Yeah. And then it's not good for us because then we're just wasting our time and leads and resources on you. Does that make sense? So I literally I spell it out 100%. So completely. And now we know when someone's going to quit or get fired in like a couple of days because we're like,
100%.
Hey, we just did it the other day. Hey, such and such, you didn't hit your metrics. What happened? Oh, okay. Second day. Oh, dude, you didn't hit your metrics. What happened? Third day, I told Justin, I was like, dude, just ask him if he just wants to quit pretty much because, like, he's not doing it.
Yeah, my quick question is, hey, is this a place you can see yourself working still?
Yeah.
And they're gone.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So now I feel, like, pretty confident about it, but before we were just bringing people in. And
I love that. I would even go a step further, write it all out, and then have them sign it when they're with their onboarding package too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that is a good idea. So yeah,
we have a lot of that too, like all the stuff that we talked about, all the stuff we expect. Because then obviously, if you don't do that,
yeah, and
like simple stuff, like hey, when you go to an appointment, you got to have your polo on.
Yeah, yeah. Anything else on the hiring process before we get to like other stuff?
No, I mean hiring's huge. Recruiting's huge. So I mean, huge. Huge. Take it seriously, man.
Yeah.
It's something that I think we've really dialed it in, but I had to think like a recruiter. You got to think like a recruiter. If you want to make the millions of dollars that we're sitting here talking about, you have to hire good people.
Yeah, and we can go into like a quick side topic because I want to get to marketing. It's so funny now. I still coach people, right? And it's so funny sometimes I tell people, I'm like, dude, are you running a business or is this a hobby for you? I kind of went off on one of my students yesterday for an hour because I've been telling him to do something for 6 months and he hasn't done it. And then I was just like, out of love, I was like, why are you even like asking me?
Yeah.
Like, why are you asking me the same question every single week for months and you're not listening to me? Like, I asked him, I'm like, is this a hobby or is this a business? Just so you know, because for me, this is a business. I'm not here to just try dumb crap and like play around for 8 hours and go home. You don't go to Panda Express and then be like, dude, Panda Express sells pizza now. Oh, and they started selling smoothies and they quit selling pizza. Now they're selling Chinese food again. Now they're selling this. No, they have one thing that they're constantly trying to improve and fix and systematize. Yep. They're not jumping from Airbnb to long-term rental to wholesaling to nationwide to novations. And I just went off on them a little bit. I was like, brother, like every week it's a new thing.
Haven't read the book, The One Thing.
Yeah. I told him, I straight up told him, I was like, brother, we're never going to have this conversation again. If you don't listen to me, it's just pointless. I'm not here to babysit people. Yeah. If I've already made millions as a real estate investor, if I became a multimillionaire through real estate investing, and I'm telling you to stop switching your marketing strategy from like email, MLS, texting, cold calling, Facebook ads, PPC every week for months, and it hasn't worked. And then you're going to come to me and I tell you something and then you give me feedback. And I'm like, brother, what's the point? Yeah. So I just want people, and again, it sucks because it minimizes the podcast because not everyone's going to treat this like a business. But like, I want people to just understand just because you don't have a boss and this is a 1099, that doesn't mean you should treat your business like a hobby. This is a business. You don't see you don't see Target jumping into childcare and renting movies, right? You go to Target, they're doing the same crap and they've been doing it for years and years and years. And that's why 90% of people fail because they treat this like they're just all over the place. And it just gets me super frustrated.
That's what you're so good at with this podcast and with the vision of this podcast is that like what you want to do. And the reason why you ask hard questions is to help the viewer obviously turn this into a business. Yeah. You're literally just getting right to the nuts and bolts of what to do. Yeah. Like this ain't like when I sit here and I could tell you about wholesaling, sometimes I feel like when I talk to a buddy and he's asking me about questions about what to do next. And I feel like it's nothing fancy. No, it's the same. I tell people all the time, like it's just doing the same thing over and over, but getting really good at it over and over. But getting good at it. One thing, thank God, is I read the book, The One Thing, when I first started, and one of my first books I read, and wholesale. Yeah, that's been my thing. I'm going to get real good at wholesaling, and that obviously starts with understanding dispositions, understanding acquisitions, understanding management, understanding hiring, everything that we've talked about in this podcast so far. And we've actually covered a lot today. Yeah. But there's so much of those micro skills that you have to learn to become a real good wholesaling or running a wholesaling operation.
Yeah. And I love
that.
I forgot who I was watching. It might've been Alex Hermosi, but he was just talking about, he was like, you'll talk to someone. I'm going to use this as a real estate example. You'll talk to someone and they're like, dude, PPC doesn't work. No. PPC does work. You rather had a sales problem. You had a conversion problem on your landing page. You had a market specific problem. You had a small nuance problem that you refused to figure out. So you gave up on the whole thing and switched. And then you're going to guess what? You're going to do Facebook leads. And then you're going to be like, man, Facebook leads don't work. Yep. What was your ad? What was your copy? How much were you spending? What were you targeting? How fast were you calling your leads? Did any of the leads that you got actually ended up selling? Like it's the same thing with everything, with cold calling, with hiring people. They're like, oh man, I can't hire anyone. I'm just like, bro, you're a fucking idiot. Bleep that out ish. When people tell me stuff like that, I'm just like, that literally just shows me the maturity of that business owner when they just say, I can't hire anyone good. Bro, you live in Southern California or you live in the United States. There's 330 million people and you can't find a salesperson? Come on, bro. Like, what are we... Like you're not a serious, you're not a serious person and it sucks. Yeah. And I get it when people are coming up, I get it. But when people have been in the industry for years and years and years, and again, I'm being ultra strict, but you get it.
I definitely get it. Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah. It sucks.
And actually, it's funny. I always, I get a lot of people reaching out to me as well because I post on social media a little bit, so people get to see me. And technically, the reason why I post on social media is just so I could talk to guys like you and stuff like that. But it's the whole point of a reason why I haven't gone to the coaching realm yet. There's two reasons, and it's because I personally feel like I have a lot more to learn.
Yeah.
And I'm still growing. And sometimes where I'm at in my business, people think, oh, you made it. No, I don't. I don't feel. I'm probably not going to feel like I made it until I hit that 10 million or the $1 million months, and even then I might not feel like that.
Is that your ultimate goal?
Our vision is 24 million, so $2 million months.
Okay.
But yeah, so obviously my ultimate goal right now is the first $1 million month, and how can we replicate that, et cetera. And the second thing is, like when somebody comes to me and asks me for advice, and I tell you to do exactly that, or literally just do this and you will succeed. I don't do it. I couldn't. I got too much. My time's too valuable right now.
Yeah.
Because my time is also managing and coaching. Because you're a coach to your team.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And that's the thing that we all need to understand is you are a coach. Like I'm a coach, but my coaching is toward my acquisitions, dispositions, TC.
Yeah.
Reps, so.
Yeah. And I could be a little jaded because I've done coaching for so long.
Of course. Yeah.
Where there has been a season of just I don't have patience. Where before I would literally be on a call with a student hey, you can't download this contract. Okay, literally, I'm not even joking. Literally teaching them what a PDF is.
Yeah.
I've been there, and it's just been so long now that I'm just hey, I'm gonna tell you what it is.
Yeah.
I'm gonna explain you why, but if you don't listen to me, I'm not gonna insult you. I'm not gonna be
sure.
oh, you're an idiot. I'm being hyperbolic while I'm saying all this, but I'm gonna be hey, man, you got to figure out the nuts and bolts. You can't keep jumping around. You can't keep jumping from market to market to market thinking, oh, Las Vegas doesn't work. Bro, there's multi 7-figure wholesalers in this market, and you're telling me you can't get one deal, and you think going to Kansas City is going to be different? Yeah. No, you're going to go to Kansas City, and then you're going to go to multifamily, and then you're going to end up doing e-com. And I've seen it. I've coached thousands of people. I think the most we did on Wealthy on a year was 16 million or something like that. Think about how many people we've seen come and go.
Right.
We had 1,000-person events every 90 days. I've seen so many people come and go, and the people that stick are the ones that have that mindset of I'm gonna make this work.
100%. Yeah.
I'm not gonna deviate. When I got into real estate flipping, I was I'm going to become a real estate flipper or I'm going to die. I'm not going to switch. I refused to switch. Yep. I'm not going to switch to sub 2. I'm not going to switch to XYZ. I'm just going to flip houses or I'm going to die. Yep. One of the two is going to happen. And then I had the mindset of I'm going to become a millionaire or I'm going to go bankrupt.
Yeah.
One of the two is going to happen. I refuse to be in this middle of the road. One of the two is going to happen. And I figured it out because I refuse to switch models.
Yeah. I love that. And one of my guys,
Hickus.
What's that?
That's a good name. What was his name?
I said one of the guys I have.
One of the
guys I have, he was part of the sub 2 community before he joined with me on my team. And he actually recently was trying to get this sub 2 deal.
Yeah.
And I said, we don't do that here.
Yeah, we do.
Could you do it? Yes, absolutely. Yes, you could go owner finance, right?
Yeah.
I need you to get really, really good at getting properties at a deep discount. That's all I want you to do.
We do the same thing. And when I was a coach, people would be like, but what about sub 2? And I'm like, honestly, you should just rather go do sub 2. And I think Pace is amazing. I think Pace is one of the best. He's the LeBron James of education.
Yeah,
he invented sub 2. You know what I'm saying? If that's what you want to do, you should go do that. Yeah. But don't ask me about doing sub 2 because I flip houses.
There you go.
And that's all I'm trying. And they're like, but you could do a wrap and you could do. It's bro, I could do Airbnb. I could do long-term rentals. I could do owner lease option. I could do a million things. But until you get good at one thing, stop jumping from thing to thing to thing. But okay, let's talk about marketing. So, what does your marketing look like?
It looks real simple. I keep.
That's funny.
I know we could just. I'm just so much value just coming out of me. No, keep it super simple. We do PPC, PPL,
PP.
PP.
Just straight PP.
FB, Facebook. We just launched YouTube and Bing. We do direct mail.
Dang.
So we really focus on inbound channels. So
Dang. How much?
and SEO. We do a lot of SEO.
How much do you spend a month on marketing?
Close to six figures.
Close to six figures.
Yeah.
Dang, that's a lot. Yeah. So let's say 90K, and then you're averaging about 2 or 350. So that's like about.
It's like a 2-3x return.
Yeah, 2-3x.
So what you're always looking. So yeah. So even the guys who are doing the $1 million months, they're spending $400,000 or $500,000 to make $1 million to $1.3 million, right?
Yeah.
So it's usually about a 2 to 3x return.
Okay, so let's break these down. You did 6 different ones. So, and you spend 90K a month.
Well, yeah.
Go ahead.
The marketing cost is going to go up and down. So I want to make this very clear when it comes to marketing. It does never stop it. That's rule 1. Never stop it. That is your blood to your business, your wholesale business.
Yeah.
Number 2 is you might want to lower it, scale it and lower it. And you watch those diminishing returns. So for example, in the beginning of the year, you kind of want to start launching that back up. And obviously as you go in, so for example, like we started our PPC at 30 grand, right?
Jeez, that's high.
that's my low end, right?
Yeah.
And
Damn.
and then you want to start scaling it up to in the middle of the summer. And then when you get to that fourth quarter, depending on where you're at with your business, you want to scale that back down because people are not going to sell it. Google's going to want to spend your money. Yeah. And they're going to spend it, and they're going to spend a lot of it.
Yeah.
And you might not get anything. You know what I mean? So you got to really, really watch it. Even though somebody does manage my stuff, I still have the ability to watch it, and I'm able to work with my my manager to say, hey, we need to lower this, we need to do this, and so forth. So
interesting. What about
the reason I said, sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt you. The reason why I say because you said 90 grand, it's not just 90 grand the entire year.
Yeah,
it's going to be it could start slow and then obviously get into the multi. Like I think at our height last year was like 150 in just in marketing last year, and then
it's
coming back down.
Who do you use for PPC?
Brandon Bateman.
Bateman.
That's my guy.
How long
Bateman
have you been
Collective. A couple years now.
Oh, okay. So it's been a while.
My guy.
Why do you feel like he's good at doing PPC or whatever?
Well, for obviously there's a number of reasons why. There are people out there that said I could run my own PPC. Yeah. And you know what? You can. Just like you said earlier about, dude, that walk around made me energized. And you can. But it goes back into what were you saying earlier about?
My bookkeeping.
Bookkeeping. That's perfect. You can, but I don't want to learn the PPC. I don't want to be the master at PPC. If Google changes its algorithms, I don't want to learn that. I don't want to keep up on that. I want to be a good wholesaler. I want to be able to be a good leader to my team. So anyway, why I think they're good, and again, they all do the same. Like you said, it doesn't matter if you're with them or somebody else. It's going to matter how you treat the leads. I built a really good relationship with him. He's been to my office. We've shot podcasts together. But one thing I like about him, he's big in our industry, and so he gets to see all the different accounts, 100+ accounts, seeing all the changes and everything, and he has a good full on team where if something happens to Google, they can do they're on top of it.
I'm gonna see if he texts me. Yeah, let me see.
Text him back, Sam. Sending with Aaron right now.
Is that the last name?
Yep, that's him.
Yeah,
Bateman Collective.
Yeah. He just literally texted me, so that's funny.
Amazing individual, but yeah.
The only thing I'm gonna push back on you on is it does matter who you work with, because I've worked with companies where I'm rather they're not really running it, or those leads are getting shared where
that's bad.
where I'm like, how is it that we're talking to the same company over and over and over again? You know what I'm saying? Like we call and they're like, oh, I just spoke to XYZ, and I'm like,
really?
That's weird.
I'm gonna take a step back, and I'm gonna agree with you. You're absolutely right. Yeah, obviously, if you run a crappy business, you run a crappy business, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think Bateman runs a fantastic
Yeah,
business.
yeah.
And then 2, who knows? Maybe it was just somebody, because again, what I always tell my guys when it comes to a PPC lead or any inbound lead, I'm literally jumping out of my office. I'm saying new lead. We need to call that. We need to blow them up. We need to door knock. We need to get to that house.
Yeah. That's true.
So maybe they're just filling out different websites.
Yeah. Or I've had different lead providers where there's just a clear difference where it's just for some reason, this person's able to get motivated sellers. And then this other person gets, for some reason, wrong numbers and like Spanish speaking people. Like not so much on PPC, but like Facebook, like different agencies I've worked with. Like there is sometimes like a noticeable lead quality. Yeah. Of course your sales are very important, but if we're just talking about marketing, like sometimes the company that you work with, it does matter.
I agree with you. And let's talk about that with PPL.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
PPL is like the big talk right now, right? And I've tried 5-6 different PPL companies, and I put money in every single one of them. And yeah, the lead qualities definitely are different. And I'll tell you guys off air because I don't want nobody going to my PPL company because there's biddings, right? And I won't tell you who the best one is right now.
Oh, okay.
So we'll talk about it off air.
Is it sell my house fast?
No.
Is it lead gen?
I'm just gonna.
Yeah. I mean, we all know them all. But okay, so you're spending $30K on PPC average, or you said
I'm at 55 right now.
55K
for this month, yeah.
And then how much does that bring in usually?
I would have to look at my numbers, guys. Here's the thing, and these are great questions, you know, and we talked about, and it kind of goes back to what you asked me earlier. The numbers go like this. They can go like this. This is wholesaling, right?
Yeah.
Let's be honest. You know, I could sit here and say, here's my top revenue, but guys, your bad months could be like this, and you can have these high months, and you're trying to get to like a nice flow of average, right?
Well, annually, what would you say like your return on PPC is?
So annually, I think we spent about 400 in PPC last. I think that's top of my head, 400, maybe 4 something. We made about $2 million from just PPC. So that was
like
probably 3x.
3x. Okay, yeah. So like industry standard is usually you want to make at least a 3x.
At least
normally.
a 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that could have been, and again, but let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Not saying the PPC was bad, but what I think we did bad is we didn't get in front of, we didn't book enough appointments.
Yeah.
So again, it always goes back to where are you at right here? Backtrack. And it's like all that stuff. It's like you got to figure out, okay, if I'm trying to get that 3x, why didn't I get that 3x? Maybe I got a 2.5x, and I want a 4 to 5x, which totally possible and totally doable.
Yeah,
and I think we'll get that this year.
When you have a great sales team, I believe then your KPI should be 4 to 6x.
110,000%.
That's what I've seen with Casey Ryan. Every great sales team that I've had on the podcast, they usually average 4 to 6. Average is 3. I'm not saying your team is average. I'm just saying the average between everyone is usually 3.
What I'm saying is we were learning a lot last year. Going back to Southern California, like I said, we're learning a lot by going into like. So I had. Let me just take a step back. I was at a mastermind, and with a high individual who is out of Houston. He does like 100,000. I think he spends like 100,000, like $100,000 in postcards a month. And I said, you know, we really want to make postcards hit. And so he was telling me, he's like, what do you do? What's your pre-qualifying to go to the appointments? And I told him, and he's like, oh, you're overqualifying. Mm-hmm. So that again made me say, we need to go to every single house. If they are able, willing, and ready to sell, we need to go to the house. Yeah. So that's where so like I said, let's do a podcast next year. I promise you this year is going to be way better.
Well, I could just tell you about my career, right? So,
all right, you tell me.
Yeah, it's my career, right? So when I first started, I was just doing appointments because that's what I was taught. Mm-hmm. So I started off doing like the Mike Ferry system.
Yeah. Mike
Ferry is like, you get a lead, you set an appointment, and then you qualify, and then you go. Mm-hmm. And then you would play with how much you qualify.
For sure.
But I know for sure for the first 4 years of my career, I was just doing appointments. Mm-hmm. And when you show up to the property, you can get, it's so funny. Sometimes you can get super strong personality over the phone. You show up, they're freaking soft as pillows. Like you're just like, oh, like you're trying to act hard. And now I kind of see through, oh, you want 500K. And I'm like, this shit ain't up for 500K.
And that's when you get to see the house.
Exactly.
Now you get to, don't tell them, but you get to touch maybe what's wrong with the house.
Yeah.
And then you get to work that into your negotiations.
Yeah. So I would say with appointments, I've also had, I remember, I'm going to call out our boy Scott Oots. So
yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah. Scott's way better wholesaler than me. But I remember one appointment, and I'm going to never let this go. I went on the appointment, and the lady was like, yeah, I got an offer from their company. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, okay. I sat there with them, and then we ended up getting the deal. And then when we closed, she was like, yeah, I just like how you came over and you were just real and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, so going on appointments, let's just tactically, right?
We've been stealing deals because we go on appointments.
Tactically, right? Getting in front of people, you're always going to have a better shot because people will proximity? What's the word?
Proximity, yeah.
Proximity is real, right? People work with who they're around.
Yep.
Believe it or not, they end up marrying someone that's in their circle, right? So being just around the person increases your chance of closing. Seeing the prospect in person and then getting when someone tells you on the phone, yeah, I'm going through issues, and you're like, yeah, great, okay, how much do you want? Versus like they're like, dude, this is happening, this, and you could see it, and you're just like, dang, like this is bad. Like, okay, how can we? Another quick story. I love telling stories.
Dude, so I love it.
And I love when people in the comments are like, stop talking so much. I'm just like, oh my. So don't watch the podcast. So I had this guy in Riverside, spoke to him, right? He was like, I want $250K. Off the bat, he told me that. And the house was worth $500.
Nice.
I was like,
okay,
dang, that's really good.
That's a good deal.
He was telling me about some sort of liens or issues with the HOA, and I couldn't quite understand what he was trying to tell me. So I was like, let me go on this appointment. I show up to the appointment. The guy's like, what's up? How's it going? Da-da-da. I was like, great. And then he was like, yeah, the HOA, they're trying to steal my house and blah, 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 blah. I was like, okay. And then we keep going. And he's like, yeah, man, the HOA, they're trying to steal my house and blah, blah, blah. Like said the exact same thing again, like to the T. And then I was like, okay, I get it. And then he was like, yeah, man, the HOA, da-da-da-da. And I was like, oh, like something's wrong with this guy. And I was like, hey, like, has anything ever happened to you, like, mentally? And he's like, oh, well, I have a stroke. I have short-term memory loss. Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay, well, now we're going to just list the house because I don't feel comfortable buying your house for this low because you're not mentally there, right? And I would have never known that unless I went on that appointment because if it would have been a 5-minute call, we would have got the contract, and who knows if we would have ended up wholesaling it or listing it or whatever the case may be. But I will never forget that because I remember, like, I was just like, dang, like, I would have never understood what this guy was going through because he was kind of hiding it until he kept repeating himself every few minutes. And then even when we sold it, I had to get like a family member involved and be like, hey, like, he needs to know he's moving because his house was actually going to foreclose. So we ended up helping him get top dollar and all this stuff. But, yeah, I mean, appointments work. It's just, are you willing to do them? Are you willing to stick it out? Are you willing to train the people? Because obviously to be a road warrior, it's tough. I was doing it, but I'm like, I would say a very great salesperson. Yeah. For someone to drive in Southern California hours and hours, go to an appointment, do a 2-hour appointment, then have to drive hours and hours to maybe another one, and then drive hours and hours back home. Yep. It's kind of a brutal job.
And that's why when we have, it really is. And obviously in our industry, in our market, you can make good money though. And we have a whole team to help them, right? So they don't need to keep following with their leads while their sole focus is just going to the appointment. Mm-hmm. Like I said, one of our guys, he was doing, to be honest, terrible in the first couple months he was with us. And I was this close to letting him go. Mm-hmm. We switched to in-person appointments, and he's crushing it. Yeah. So he's getting all his deals right now at in-persons, and they're all making money now, thank God. They're all like converting to deals. He tried to lock one up last month over the phone. I was like, cool, you got the contract, but it was over the phone. Yeah. He got it too high. All right. I was like, bro, it's like you need and so when he's rushing it, he gets them too high. But when you're at the house and you're working the seller, and another thing too is before they go to the appointment, they always got to do their numbers. So in the notes, so like your calendar will have it. You got to start your day and see, okay, what appointments do I have on the calendar? You got to give me your comparables, your 3 comps. What's your ARV? What's your MAO? What's your anchor? I want to know what your anchor is because what's going to happen is they don't think about it. If you don't know what you're going in to go offer the anchor at, because they'll go in and they'll just shoot a number out there. But if you already know, like, I'm going to offer $200,000 on this 450 house, right? And like you've already have this, like, no matter where the conversation goes, you need an anchor. And too many of us don't anchor. And the cool thing is what I love about when they anchor is they're not going to Most of the time, they're not going to kick you out of the house.
Yeah.
They go, that's too low for me. They're not going to. They can't hang up on you.
Yeah.
So now you go, okay, well, what were you thinking?
Yeah.
And then you get to have a great conversation. You can actually negotiate.
Yeah, I think I had Carlos Reyes on the podcast. If you haven't watched it, you should go watch it. It's such a funny podcast. But he was like, let's say you need to offer $200K. You probably shouldn't start there. So you're going to start at 160 and work your way up to that
right.
max. And I was just like, that's so true. Because like if you spit out your highest offer, they're only going to go up. It's only going to go up from there. So you can't give your max. But another quick story. I remember
before this is one thing everybody needs to know. I tell this to my team, and it literally changed the game. Is it when you give an offer and you don't feel that knot in your stomach, you're too high.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Yeah. And
you have to. Yeah.
Yeah, and I used to be scared to offer low.
Yeah.
Like, and honestly, I'm not the best acquisition person. Honestly, because I'm so like straightforward that I'm just like, bro, we need to be at 200. Even though I'm talking all this crap, I'll be like, I can do 200.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not willing to sit in the pocket.
You got other things you're thinking about.
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
go do.
Yeah, I'm too like straightforward. But that's why we have acquisition people.
That's right.
So I remember I went on an appointment and this guy, I offered him whatever. And he was like, no, man, that's not going to work. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
He just stood up to raise my hand. And I was sitting there and I was like, hold on. Like, let's figure this out. And I remember I was just like,
he anchored his butt.
Yeah,
to the
I
seat.
anchored my butt to the seat. I was just like, I'm not going to leave. Like, I'm not going to just get kicked out.
Mm-hmm.
And then he stood up, walked around, and then eventually sat back down. And then I ended up getting the contract. But, like, if it was over the phone, it's an easy, like, no, sorry, bye.
Yep,
Hung up, and
exactly.
then you're out of the deal. Yeah.
Yep.
So, okay, let's transition to leadership, right? So,
feel like we
what
talked
have,
about that, yeah.
have we? Kind of.
The first half, yeah.
The first half, but not like tactically and all
We
this
talked
stuff.
about more management, huh?
Yeah, more management. Let's
Okay.
talk about leadership.
Ooh.
Completely different, right?
Leadership.
And most people don't even understand that. And I didn't even understand that until I met Justin. I'm like, dude, he's a great leader, but he's also an even better manager.
Yeah.
And I'm the opposite. I'm like, great leader because I'm like, I see the problem. I'm like, we got to fix this problem.
For
and then
sure.
I'll try to fix it. Okay, so what have been some of your strengths and challenges as a leader?
Strengths and challenges as a leader. Obviously, my strength, like any good person, is grit. You know what I mean? Being relentless. Even when people are, even like on our down months or Q4 or whatever, constantly hyping them up. All right. My challenges, and I think I talked about this earlier, have been, like I said, my background was in the service. Being able to talk to people and leading them in a way, like if you showed up late, I was pissed. Like,
Yeah.
what
You're
the fuck?
offended.
You
Yeah.
know, like why? Like, come to work on time. You're on time. Why aren't you here early? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, if you're on time, you're late.
Yeah.
And everybody wants to bitch about not making money, but they don't want to put the work into it. And I'm like, guys, everything is here for you. I give you the best training.
Yeah.
I have like literally the best training. I mean, I put them through like John Martinez. Like you got
Yeah.
the whole system.
Is John Martinez still around?
Dude,
I
think he sold that company.
Yeah, he sold the company.
Amazing company. But he still has the
Yeah.
so every time somebody comes in, they come in and I tell them, you have the best team, you have the best leads, you have everything's just handled. All I need you to do is be obsessed. And then obviously that's again, this was back then. This was my struggle, and this is why
Yeah.
I took so much dedication into becoming that better leader.
Yeah.
To be able to watch my tonality even with employees. You know what I mean? I'm not saying I ever chewed anybody out or yelled at anybody. Sometimes I feel like I was like aggressive. Like I'd even apologize. Like, hey, if I came off aggressive there, I would apologize. You know?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh no, you're good. But to me, like, it wasn't my standard. Like
Yeah.
I was like, I was like, how can I tweak this? How can I, like, I'm always a person to take ownership of, even if I don't feel like I'm doing a good job, because if I don't feel like they're getting better, I must be doing something wrong. So
For sure.
if I have to let somebody go, I did something wrong. I'm always pointing back to me. It's not
Yeah.
because I want, too many people beat themselves up. Don't beat yourself up. Like it's actually a great way to grow. And so I'm always looking internally, how can I be better with the next hire? How can I be better with that next conversation? How can I be better with that next huddle? So
Yeah. What about just like vision wise.
But what do you mean?
Like your strengths and challenges with like
Vision?
leading your company and like the vision of
Oh,
your
the vision's
day-to-day.
fantastic. So we do a lot of cool things. So one thing, when you have a vision, your company needs to know that vision. So our vision is all over our walls. Our vision is all over the spreadsheets. Our vision is constantly talked about. I always make sure that everybody knows what's our annual goal, what's our monthly goal, what's your monthly goal, what are your metrics, where is the company going, who do we serve, and why do we serve that person? So again, back to the mission statement, we impact real estate journey. So they literally, when they're talking to their sellers and when they're talking to their buyers, they say, I'm impacting the real estate, this person's real estate journey with excellence, with ethics. So, and
What's the mission statement again?
we impact real estate journeys with excellence, ethics, lasting relationships. So it's just like, and you keep it short so they obviously memorize it.
Yeah.
So I learned that from the book, Teamwork by Natalie Dawson. So she talked about like keeping things super, like when I first started, my core values, I had like 9-10 core values. Like these are all great, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's why now I have 3. I was like,
Yeah.
these all embody these 3 ones. And so anyways, and then so when it comes to the mission statement, that's on my wall. So now when they talk to the seller, they know the mission statement because I drill it into them so much every single day. I'm always say, hey, I'll call them out. I'll call somebody random in the huddle. What's our mission statement? And then what does that mean to you?
Yeah, I told Justin the other day we need a mission statement. We have our core values. I know at Wealthy Investor, our mission statement is to transform lives through real estate investing. So that's why on this podcast, I talk about real estate investing, but it's also like faith and family.
Yeah,
and
of course.
But, you know, real estate just helps empower all those other things. So, yeah.
There's another thing by Gino Whitman. He talks a lot about and traction and those other books too. He talks about the people analyzer. You ever heard about that?
The what?
The people analyzer. So the people analyzer, and I do this every single month because I read it. Because I'm just a person who regurgitates things. But what I did is I created a people analyzer, and it's your core values. And your core values are listed in a spreadsheet. And so, for example, growth mindset. Did this person this month embody growth mindset?
Oh my God, that's so
And
good.
so-
Carlos told me that too.
Yeah, so you do it. So you do a green, yes. You do a yellow if it's like sometimes yes, no. If it's a red, you fire them. So like there should be no reds across the board. So everybody,
my gosh.
everybody and I do it. And every person I've fired, I always see they've had 1 or 2 reds.
Yeah.
So
Dang.
every single month.
Yeah.
You have to do it every single month at the end of the month.
So explaining it, I'll explain it the way Carlos explained it. So let's say you have our 5 core values, right? So you rate someone
I've heard
from
that, yeah.
1 to 5 every month or every quarter, right? So one of ours is integrity. Like, okay, this month did they work on integrity? Okay, maybe a 5. Okay, stream ownership, 5. You know, hard work, okay, a 5. Faith, okay, a 5. Empower others, 5. So he's like, if you get like a 25, then you're like excellent. If you get below, let's just say 15, then there needs to be like a performance plan put in place, or they have to be let go. And then he had a way to break down exactly how you rate the 1 to 5. But yeah, it was so good. Like we need to do that.
Yeah.
I forgot he said that, and you just brought that back up. So that's something we definitely need to do. We need to come up with our mission statement, and we need to do that. What else? With vision.
There's a lot of other things, but I think
What about struggles with vision?
Struggles with vision, just normal everyday thing. Like, hey, I'm like you. You know, we want to do more. We want to hit more better numbers. We never feel like we're at the right spot. You know what I mean? You know, I feel like even though you know, thank you for the compliment. You know, oh, you've done well in your first 5 years. Thank you. I feel like I'm way behind.
Yeah.
But I'm like, also, I'm kind of hit my deeper why, right? I've got my daughter. I've got my wife. I got 2 beautiful kids. I got another one hopefully on the way. We're gonna buy our dream house next year. Hopefully, interest rates are better. But I would say my struggle is just sometimes I'm just like, my wife's like just sitting pretty. She's like, this is fantastic. We're doing well. And I'm just like, no, we need to do. We need to keep pushing. And so that's what obviously any leader. That's what we're all about. We're all about constantly bettering ourselves, and we never feel like we've hit the mark. So
yeah, sometimes I think I it's my fault, but sometimes we've had times where I think too small. Like last year,
100%.
I was like, Justin, it's gonna be me, you, and 2 salespeople, and that's it. And we're gonna do $1 million to $2 million, but we're gonna be so profitable that it's gonna be great.
Right.
And then I'm like, why are we thinking so small?
I love it.
Like, why? Like, even we'll say with marketing, like, where there's a period of time, let's just say we were sending out or spending whatever to hit X many leads, and then I'm like, why are we not spending double that? Like, literally, why are we only spending $20K? Why aren't we spending $60K?
Yeah.
Like, so catching myself sometimes and thinking too small, or catching myself, this is my struggles, thinking too small or thinking either or. Like, that's something that I have learned from Ryan. It's not like, well, I could only do good in real estate and everything else has to get it on the back burner. You know, I could only, you know, be strong in my faith on Sundays, but not at the office. You know, like, just having this either or mindset.
Yeah.
So right now, another idea that I have that I know I have to do it is I need to hire someone that's just like a wealth manager. So their job is just looking for deals for me to keep as rentals.
I like that. Yeah.
That's it. Because if someone's allocated to doing that, then I know it'll get done. But if it's reliant on me, I'm just going to be like, you know, I'm kind of busy right now, X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
So it's like I can make a lot of money flipping and wholesaling, but I could also buy rentals and grow my wealth at the same time.
Are you buying more? Are you buying rentals right now?
Yeah, I'm going to buy more rentals.
In California?
No, it's going to be in like Kansas City.
Is that Kansas? Yeah.
Yeah,
I
Kansas
saw that
City.
post this morning.
Yeah. Because like, I mean, I own rentals already in California, but now
How many rentals do you own in California?
like 15.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That's something I wanted to do. Is I've been thinking about rentals a lot lately.
Hell yeah.
I always wanted to obviously move forward, getting my income. That's kind of where I was at. And now that we're getting to that
So you're
stage,
doing either or.
yeah. So we got the income. So now let's start putting our money into rentals. Anyways, I'm probably gonna get with my boy Omar to help. He used to be in the Hesperia area and
Omar Alfaro?
yeah. Great guy.
Yeah.
And but anyways, he buys rentals and everything in California. I'm thinking like, you know, because obviously you got your cash flow, you got your appreciation, but California sucks with tenants. But to me, I'm like, I'm going to buy a rental. The direction I'm going to be headed is I want to buy rentals in my backyard, so I can obviously have a little bit more control. But the appreciation in California is just ridiculous.
Yeah. So like, I'm a multimillionaire, not because I have millions in the bank, but because of my rentals that I've bought over the years have gone up. And
what do you think about still buying them in California?
I think if you get deals cheap enough in Southern California, it works.
Yeah.
I would never buy a deal in LA ever.
Never LA, like San Bernardino, Riverside.
San Bernardino, Riverside only.
Exactly.
I would never in my life buy a rental in Los Angeles. I think
no.
that's insane. But my rentals, I try to buy like Burr properties. I wholesaled a property earlier this year that I should have kept as a rental.
Okay.
It was like $90K in like California City. ARV was like $250 or some crap like that.
Man.
I should have kept it. But so my rental strategy in Southern California is just like burring. They have to be in cheaper markets like the city of San Bernardino, city of Highland.
Yeah.
Not in just straight booty towns like Big Bear, like, or Joshua Tree. Like, they have to be in good, like, where there's people there.
Yeah.
It's a Fontana. Like, Fontana's not going anywhere.
I love that.
Joshua Tree.
What do you think?
Big Bear.
You buy mobile homes?
No. I think mobile homes are just
okay.
trash. Because
I do too.
appreciation is just like a lot of the properties that I bought in San Bernardino, I bought in the 100s, like 120, 140, 150.
Okay, gotcha.
And now they're worth 400, 450, 500.
We get a lot of deals out there.
And it's funny because another story, I remember at the time I would get these 150. This is like 2016.
Dang, you hit it when it was good.
No,
At the time you don't know. Yeah.
It
might be good later.
always good.
Yeah. Because right now they're 400. Next year it might be 800.
Exactly. That's the point of the story.
Yeah.
I remember at the time I was like, 150 for San Bernardino 2-1. That's expensive. That's expensive. I remember I'll never forget it. There was this condo in Highland. It's like on 8th Street or 9th Street. It was a $50K condo in Highland, right? And I remember I found this on the MLS and I'm like, man, this is like cheap. I showed my wife, I was like, this condo in California is $50K. And a bunch of them in the units are selling for $50K. I could pay this off, and the HOA is like $300. I can rent it out for $1,000. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Those same condos are selling for $200K now.
Nice.
And I seen them.
Did you buy 'em?
No.
Oh.
And I seen them, and I just thought about it, and then I let it go.
Yeah.
I remember I showed my wife this fourplex in Las Vegas in like 2016, 2017. I was like, babe, this fourplex is for $250. Each door rents out for $600. The mortgage would be $1,500. It makes like $1,000.
Yeah.
And she's like, nah, it's ghetto. I was like, yeah. I bought the same condo for $475 as a rental.
Oh,
the same
nice.
condo I could have bought for $250. I ended up paying years later $475 for it. So like that's why I'm like, I need someone to sit here and do it, because I had the guy.
What would that look like? Sorry, I totally interrupted.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna tell you. So I had the guy on here, the Section 8 guy. I don't know if you watched that podcast,
Yeah, I saw
but
this drop, yeah.
so funny. All these, I love my subscribers, and I actually call them when they fill out the link in the description. I sit there and call them sometimes, and I love talking to them. But some of them are like, this guy, blah 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 blah,
Just hating.
just hating.
Yeah.
And then I watched this other guy make a video hating on this guy. Right?
Wow.
So funny. But think
Why?
about
Just go do it.
But think about this, right? This kid bought $50K, $60K Airbnbs
Yeah.
6 years ago, pre-pandemic. Now he has 100, and he makes a bunch of money in cash flow. Why is that so hard to believe? You don't think those 50K houses went up? You don't think at the time people are like, 50K in
Yeah.
Cleveland, that's expensive? No, it's just time in the real estate is just how long can you
Right.
buy and hold?
Right.
Because the more you hold, the more it goes up, the more inflation keeps happening, rents go up,
Yeah.
values go up. So it's just time in the game. So how does that look like? That was a great question. What I'm going to do, I was going to talk to Justin about this.
Take your notes. Get your notepad out.
I'm going to convert one of our current sales guys into...
Does he know it yet?
No. Justin doesn't even know this.
Justin's like this right now.
Yeah, he's like, oh boy. No, but follow up with me at the end of the year.
Another change. Another change.
Another change. No, but look, if I don't buy a damn rental in 30 days, I'm gonna send you $1,000.
Tell me $1,000 just because I'm on the podcast.
Just because you're on the podcast. If I don't lock something up in 30 days, I'm gonna send you $1,000.
I'll text you in 30
Yeah,
days.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's
I'm
awesome.
serious. Actually,
Does it have
and
to close?
no, I just gotta get
Just
on a
lock it
contract.
up. EMDN, right?
EMDN.
All right.
I will also do this
No
to one of
CRs.
the
No CRs. Like you can't have no contingencies on it.
No. I just have to be an escrow because I have to
taking
do
my notes.
DSCR loan. And I'm going to give $1,000 to one of the listeners.
There you go.
Comment on this video saying, I'm going to be around in 30 days. Send me a message.
Send the message.
On Instagram. If I don't buy a rental in 30
days.
I'm going to send them $1,000 and I'm going to send you $1,000.
No, just $2,000 to the subscriber.
Okay, $2,000 to the subscriber. So I'm going to
And
do
then
that.
I will hold that account. I'll hold him accountable.
Yeah,
I'll
and-
be on there like he didn't do it.
Yeah, but you have to comment on this video and you have to send me a DM on Instagram, the Brian Davila, to get the $2,000. I'm putting myself out there to do it.
All right.
Because I've
30
been
days.
talking
Is it
about
30
it
days from now or when the video drops?
from today, which
All right.
is
Yep, say it.
February 26th.
There, that's
I'm
what-
going to
that's
make
what we
this one
needed.
come out faster.
That's
so,
what we needed to do.
Okay, so why am I doing that? Because I have to force myself to
love
do
it.
it. I
Yeah,
have to
accountability.
do it. I have to. It just, the problem is, not to just talk about what you just said. Everyone's like, you got to get your income up. Your income up. Your income's been up, brother. Like your income's been up. You've been making $300K a year. You should have. Do you own any rentals?
No.
Yeah. So unfortunately, your income has been up. Like
Yeah.
if you would have bought in
Right.
2020, you could have experienced a double
Right,
in values that I've experienced. Because I actually bought a lot of rentals in 2020
For sure.
because I was like, bro, these interest rates are wild, bro. I was getting in investment loan interest rates for 3.5.
Yeah.
At the time, I was like, bro, this is crazy. Like, I'm getting cheap mortgages. And I bought a
Yeah.
bunch during that time. But long story short, how am I going to do this? We're going to take a sales guy. His livelihood is going to be on if I buy rentals. So I'm going to be like, dude,
Yeah.
you're going to get a property under contract. If it's, let's just say if it's a seller finance or a sub two, he's going to get a flat, we'll say $3K, right? Even if it's from a wholesaler, Like even if I just buy from a wholesaler, he's going to get a flat 3K. If we're getting it direct to seller, I'm going to do the same thing, blast it out. He's going to get paid as if it was a wholesale fee. So whatever we get offers at, I'm going to be like, hey, it was a 20K wholesale fee. They get paid 15%. You're going to get paid 15% of what would have been the thing. But I'm going to have someone just dedicated to helping me buy rentals.
But can't you just cherry pick from your wholesale business? I mean, it's the same. It's the same because why not?
Well, one, because I'm going to buy deals in Kansas City.
Oh, okay. So you just need somebody to focus on a different market.
Well, and then another thing too, if the problem is if no one's in charge, then no one's in charge, right? Mm-hmm. If my whole team is like, oh yeah, like it might make sense, or if it's like up to me, right? I won't do it. I'll be like, let's just wholesale it. But if I have to buy a rental for this person to make a living, it's forcing me to do it. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's one reason. Someone has to be in charge. This is the COO thing that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Every department, there's one person that is in charge. There's one person that's held accountable to everything in each department. Yeah. My wealth department, it has to follow one person. It can't be everyone's on everyone's thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay, why doesn't it make sense? Help me explain it better.
Well, first off, if you're in Kansas City, I mean, shoot them a deal. You know
Yeah. Or Oklahoma.
Well, or Oklahoma. So one thing,
I'm gonna buy a piece of crap just to not pay too crap.
But you're gonna buy a piece of crap for $2,000.
Yeah.
Because one thing I'm thinking of right now, when you're telling me that you're going to pay this guy the same assignment fee, is what you're saying, $3,000, and then you're going to just cherry pick from your wholesale company already. Now, again, you want to do maybe this wealth thing is something completely different. They're going to have different responsibilities. But I mean, what makes sense in my head is that you're going to be looking and evaluating deals that come across your pipe through your wholesale company. And then you're going to cherry pick one. You're going to pay the acquisition, that's still their wholesale fee. And then you have your rental.
Yeah.
So why do you need to pull somebody out? Why not just say, hey, we're going to market also to Kansas City, so lock something up there. You're going to get paid
because again, one is the market. Two, because someone needs to be in charge.
Okay.
Someone has to be the designated person to hold accountable, because if I don't buy any rentals, this person doesn't make a living. Yeah. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. Where if it's on the team, on everyone, then it's going to be what it's already been, where I'm like,
what's your ultimate
let's just
goal?
wholesale it. Ultimate goal, we'll talk about that. Hold on. Let's stick to this real quick. So I believe someone has to be in charge. I got this from Gary Sharper.
Oh, nice.
If it's like
Sharper,
if we're talking about marketing, Aaron and his wife, they run the marketing department. It cannot be this person and that person. One person needs to be in charge, because then I could go to that person. I'm like, why aren't we buying rentals? Mm-hmm. How are you gonna make a living? Like, what are we doing? Yeah. And now it's on them to figure it out and get it done. And I'm going to support them or whatever. But I just believe one person has to be in charge
of
Brian's wealth.
That's right.
It's true. Because obviously I'm not doing a good job because I haven't been buying rentals. Mm-hmm. So I need to be fired from that position. I'm not performing. Yeah. I haven't bought a rental in like 2 or 3 years. So I obviously I'm not doing a good job. I have to fire myself.
Well, you're not getting just back into real estate too, though, right?
Yeah, but I've been in real estate. Like,
been teaching real
estate.
It's
been teaching real estate. Yeah. I only took like 1 year off, which was like 2023. But so that I didn't perform, so I got to fire myself. I can't keep sticking to this like, I'm gonna do it one day. So number one. Number two, it's gonna be a separate market. So I don't want to pull resources from my current guys, like, oh, they're mastering Southern California right now. I don't want to be like, here's Kansas City, 30K house. Like, I don't want to distract them and hinder.
That's what I wanted to hear. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's another great reason. And then lastly, what's the ultimate goal, right? The ultimate goal is not to have a high income job, which is what wholesaling is.
Yeah.
If you stop today, your business will die. If you and your girlfriend or wife, decide to stop, your business will be gone within 12 months. 100%. And I've experienced that already, and I've seen it over and over again. Yeah. So The goal is
But
buy
that's the same,
rentals.
and that's the same thing though. If I quit my firefighting job, my firefighting job's done.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I need to build something.
Yeah.
You know what doesn't stop when I stop? My Section 8.
Yeah.
My Section 8 payments come in every single month. And guess what? I don't have to hear any excuses about someone's parent or someone's dog or someone got COVID or someone XYZ. I've been getting paid for years from Section 8 and from some of my rental properties for years. And I haven't talked to these tenants. I have not communicated with them. So the only way to get reoccurring revenue in real estate is rentals.
Yeah.
Wholesaling is one and done.
So are you going for cash flow or appreciation? So that's
Well,
different.
it's going to be a blend. That's why I'm doing Kansas City, because Kansas City appreciates and it cash flows.
Yeah. That's the difference between what I would do, and that is that I want appreciation. So what I would do is I'm going to be getting the money, obviously, to keep that high income, right? The business. I mean, that's just a business in general, right?
Yeah.
Because obviously we talk a lot about wholesaling and real estate. You know, the difference between you can sell a business, not sell a business. You know, there's an argument of can you sell your wholesale business or not? I am, quote unquote, trying to build it up, my business up, as I can sell it.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that, by obviously keeping the brand away from my name, if you go to my website, I got tons and tons of video testimonials. I got Google reviews.
Yeah.
I got systems, processes, CRM full of leads. Everything's going to be set in place as if I wanted to sell it.
Yeah. We
So
can do that too, Justin.
yeah, so that's just your wholesale business. That comes with the book, The E-Myth, right? So you need to always set it up like you're going to sell your business. Not saying I am, or not saying you could, or
And not saying you won't get a lot of money for it, honestly.
Exactly. And so, but again, to me, that's just a business in general. Now, obviously, there are other businesses that are different with the subscriptions and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but-
recurring revenue.
So anyway, so back to the appreciation. So I want to take that money from a wholesale business and put it in so I could get the appreciation, because I don't really care about the cash flow. And I've only heard this because of the people I've surrounded myself with, is the cash flow has been something like, and again, I could be totally wrong. Everybody has their own goals and everything like that.
Yeah.
But you know, you get this little bit of cash flow. You got all these properties that are really not appreciating, but you know, maybe you get $10,000 a month. Well, okay, you get that $10,000 a month. I'm getting over $100,000 a month, or if not more. Well, the goal is way more a month through my business. My business is my passive income.
Yeah.
What I want to do is I want to park that money into somewhere, like, you know, obviously instead of a stock market, into real estate, so it could appreciate. You know what I'm saying? So that me and my wife are done. Let's say tomorrow when I shut down the wholesale business, we can't, or if a market crashes, I think you guys did it too, is like you sell your properties.
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
perfect.
sold
I'm able
a couple.
to, I'm going to put,
Sold
you know,
like four.
help us
Yeah.
and liquidate and move on. So that's why I think California and San Bernardino, Riverside County, and the more conservative areas would be fantastic to purchase.
Yeah,
that's just
and I own 15 homes in Southern California. So but this is why I'm doing Kansas City.
Yeah, tell us why.
Have you heard of Shannon Sharp when he goes both?
No.
Both. Well,
Both.
Yeah. So you can get cash flow and appreciation.
And you can do both. Yeah.
Yeah, you could do both. So not thinking either or. And let's say the snowball effect is I collect $50K a month net, right? Then that cash flow can go straight into paying itself off and snowballing into this massive thing.
Right,
where
right. That makes
wholesaling
sense.
doesn't do that.
Right, okay.
It's one and done. So
makes
that's
sense.
the
That makes
vision. This is me. This is
So
my.
you want to dump a bunch in, get a bunch of cash flow, but then you could use that cash flow, you said, to pay all the properties off.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
And then the cash flow goes up even more, and then I could use that cash flow to buy more rental properties.
Yeah.
So it's just like a big machine, because this is another thing I've thought about, right? Why are we doing this? For your daughter, blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
What are you going to leave her? You're not leaving her a wholesale company. Let's be real. Your wholesale company is probably not going to be around. Your wholesale company is probably not going to be around in 50 years.
Right.
Let's be real. The likelihood of that happening is probably zero.
Right.
Right. If you buy rentals, they're going to be here. Yeah. There's houses around from 1900s.
Right.
So in 50 years, you buy some houses, they're still going to be here.
1,000%. And I'm not saying, because 1,000%, and that's, I need to put my own butt on a challenge and like
just do it right now. That's what I was gonna do. That's what I was gonna
Omar's
tell
been
you.
getting on me about like, bro, you need to start buying some rentals,
Yeah.
parking that money and stuff. So
So you want
my
to challenge
goal.
yourself? What are you gonna do?
Yeah, no, not right now.
No, why not? Let's talk about
I
it.
get my first rental this year. Yeah,
Yeah, you want to do that?
I don't know, man.
Why? What's stopping you?
Nothing, I guess.
That's why someone
I just
has
haven't
to
done
be.
it, dude.
But you see, that's why someone has to be in charge because
That's right.
you suck at your job
Yeah.
of building wealth. So that's why
Yeah.
someone needs
is
to
true.
do it. So that's why it could be your wife. You could be an acquisition
Yeah.
person. Like, hey, mother effer, I need to buy a rental this year. If we buy a rental, you're gonna get X because you suck at that job as a wealth advisor. So you need to fire yourself and appoint someone else.
There you go. All right,
So who are you appointing?
my wife.
But will you actually keep her accountable?
We'll talk about it later, but yeah, we'll. I obviously haven't thought about too much, but yeah, it's definitely been a goal of mine. Is just because
Well, let's think about it. We don't got shit to do, bro. So
I got to go drive.
yeah,
I gotta get out of
yeah,
here.
yeah.
But no, I mean, like I said, it's and something we can wrap up because I do got to go hit the road.
Yeah.
This has been fantastic, man. I hope I was able to add some value to you guys.
Hold on, I want to stick on this wealth thing real quick. Are you gonna do this or not?
The curtains are coming down.
Yeah. I'm like, hold on. Are you gonna do this? Why? I
Yes.
don't get. Why wouldn't you?
Yes, I need to do it.
Okay, but what's stopping you?
Nothing really.
Okay.
I just been so focused on building the business. I think so.
Yeah, just buy one rental.
I just need to buy one, and then because I bet you once I get that high,
Here, I'll give
do
you
a
this
bunch.
book. There you go. You gifted me a book.
I just bought this book.
Okay.
It's on my kitchen.
I can't
table.
even give it to you. Free signed it. For
That's
me?
right. You can't give that to me. Kitchen table.
Yeah. So it's a sign.
But have you read that book yet?
Yeah.
Good?
Yeah. It just goes back to he was in Fresno.
All right. This is what I do. I'll read that book
Yeah.
this month, and this summer I'll buy a rental.
Yeah. F the book. You don't need a book. I don't believe in books. Like, I believe you know what to do.
Yeah,
you don't need a
sure.
book to tell you to buy rentals.
Yeah.
You have the lenders. You have the deals under contract.
There you go.
You have the private money lenders. You probably have the construction workers. You just are not doing it.
Yeah. I think that's what I've been holding off for so long is it's to me it's its own business. Like you just said, the construction workers, to get in all that, like again, like when people talk about that too, you're flipping and a lot of people like to use flipping and wholesale with the same terminology, right?
Yeah.
My flipping and wholesale business, right? I have a wholesale business, and what I mean by that is
You just
it's
wholesale.
it's a business.
Yeah.
Flipping's another business.
It is.
That's a whole different other
It
business.
is, yeah.
And that's why you're really good at it. But you're able to do both because you've done both.
Well, because I started flipping. So when
but-
you start flipping, it's way easier because I already have the construction workers, the listing agents. I built that business first, and
Right.
now I could wholesale where it's like way easier to
Right.
wholesale than it is flip.
Right. And for me, it's like I said, it's should I buy in California? The properties are real expensive. Or should I go buy virtual? And then like I'm not in the backyard. So again, that's been the reason why it's been so long because to me that's a whole other business. And
Yeah.
I just need to go ahead and get it over with.
Okay, so you're gonna do it this year.
Yeah, I'll do it this year. Yeah.
And what if you don't?
Dude, then you gotta call me out.
Are you willing to put 2K on the line?
I'll put 2K on the line.
Okay, there we go.
I'll give you 2K.
Okay, no, give it to one of the subscribers
I'll
on
give it
this
to
video. If people want to collect this 2K at the end of the year, if
Here's
you
my
don't buy it,
Cash App.
yeah, where do they go to follow you and make sure you actually do it?
Aaron Gaunt on my Instagram. Yeah.
Okay, sweet. Anything else you want to leave the listeners with?
Nah, and just be obsessed. I hope I was able to add some value, at least on the business side of real estate. And I can't thank you enough for one, inviting me to your Bible study, inviting me to your office. I mean, this has been fantastic. You got a fantastic team.
Yeah.
You're an amazing individual, and dude, I hope we could do this again sometime.
Yeah, we'll do it again. And guys, thank you so much for listening. If you haven't, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next episode.